Monday night after the 2026 NFL Draft, the Krug Show with Teeter in the house.
What are we going to talk about?
The man did his own draft guide. He knows. All right. We got a lot to get to. Sign up for his draft guide. We're going to move some draft guides tonight. But Dieter, seriously, there's a lot of people that are talking about this that don't know. Dieter knows, and it's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. He's here. We got a lot to get to. Let's get to it. Krug Show off and running Monday night. Dieter's in the house, and we got a lot to get to. Brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Best barbecue in all of Northern California. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili.
Ooh.
Tell him Krug sent you.
Yes, sir.
We got a lot to get to. I wonder, can I do both of these at the same time?
Knock it out, baby.
Can I go with the music up and then still go with the crowd if I wanted to over here?
Not hearing a lot of that, Lair. Not hearing a lot of that in these streets regarding the Niners draft.
Not a lot of people. Into the.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
But not a lot of people towards John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. So let's get into it. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Someday I'm going to be dangerous on the soundboard. The Krug Show is also presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes. You build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. So if you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. It's up there in the corner of the screen. When you play $5, you get $50 in lineups instantly, like as fast as you can say Carver Willis.
Hey, now.
In the 4th round, instantly.
As fast as you can get past Carver Willis.
We are going to talk a lot of NFL draft tonight, and we are going to get into it. And also, of course, thank you to Habas Law. We'll mention them more later, but habaslaw.com, big sponsor on the Krug Show, and everything's on the line. Habas Law. They fight to make it right. Visit them on the web at habaslaw.com. All right, so we're off and running, and we got a lot to get to, as I said. The draft all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Don't ask me about Giants baseball right now. I know nothing about Giants baseball.
The level of tune-out during the draft. I mean, I came up on Sunday, and I'm like, what do you mean the Marlins won on Friday? Like, what do you mean they came NBA playoffs? I'm like, oh, Orlando's up 2-1. That's interesting. I was in a black hole of despair worrying about who James Gladstone was going to take at 214. It was a problem.
Seriously. And like, if people say, well, you know, who won the draft? And this is what the day after. And, you know, there's all that. And it's like, I don't know who won the draft. Even I've got friends, I've got family. Krug, you know, I love your draft coverage. You know, tell me who won the draft. And it's like the ultimate question. And then I can't answer it. So then they kind of think I'm a fraud. I say, you know, here's Warren Sharp. I put a piece of paper out. I made a copy. I laid it on the table.
I just love, Larry, you had to take the screenshot. Just upload the screenshot.
I could have uploaded the screenshot, but I was in the kitchen, and I'm like, you know, I'm just going to take a picture of it. Because I was actually sending it to a friend of mine to tell him. I'm like, this is what.
Again, could have just sent the screenshot.
I know.
Didn't have to waste all that beautiful toner. You printed it in color, too.
I know. Look at the toner.
Look at that.
Look at
Warren
toner.
Sharp getting the value out of that check mark. It came out in blue.
There's so much toner on that page that it's kind of wet. Can you see how the paper's wet? It's
you can't pick it up with your hand.
I think that thing's wet. I don't think and if I put that next to another paper, all that ink would come off. It's a gigantic. What you're seeing there is
you're gonna have to get the sander out.
I did this on purpose. Okay. Why? Because I'm trying to show how inefficient the Niners drafting really is. Okay. And I'm trying to show people, how can you be truly inefficient
and
still be like in the know? And that's me, and that's the Niners draft, and it's all a symbol.
This is why you got to share the show with people. Larry's print budget is so out of control. If you guys don't subscribe and go to all the sponsors, he ain't gonna make it. How's he going to feed his family with all this money going to printer ink?
I thought I was doing well, but then all the money went to ink, and it just
it's the candles part of the drill tweet. For anyone who understands that reference, they will laugh. For those who don't, move on.
Please throw a super in here to pay for the ink, because right now the show we're at a net negative. But Warren Sharp, best value.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean?
I mean, this is the most random freaking list right here.
Yeah, sure.
I'm seriously. I mean, I think the Colts may have had a pretty decent draft.
I think so too, yeah.
I think the Bucks had a really good draft.
Agreed.
Maybe, I don't know, a couple of those other ones are in there, but this is by no means a list of the best draft by far. And yet they've got the Commanders, Panthers, and Colts at the top. So I brought this up because I wanted to show that even though I follow Warren Sharp, and I really like Warren Sharp, and I read a lot of his stuff every week. And Warren, if you're ever watching the stream, you're welcome as a guest anytime. We'd love to have you. But the old liars use stats, and I can use stats to say any narrative I want, to speak anything I want. He wrote an article today, and to me, it's brilliant, but and the but part is that he didn't. One thing my late father taught me is that in business, always go talk to the man. And you know what? And when I worked with Gary Radnich on KMBR, he always wanted to talk to the man. He did not want to go with any kind of any bias.
Yeah. You're not handling anything for him. If you want
no underlings, we're going to deal with G-Rad. He wasn't dealing with underlings. He's going to talk to the main guy, or it's not getting done.
Right.
So, and it's like for Warren Sharp to go that hard at John Lynch today, I thought without mentioning Kyle Shanahan, when most of the whiffs are on the offensive side. Yeah. And I think it's like, I get it. Kyle's great, and he's great at what he does. And Kyle is considered to be a higher ranked coach, let's say, than Lynch is as a GM. So he has more equity within the sport. But you can't write that article. And Kyle Shanahan was hired. You got to know how they were hired. Kyle Shanahan was hired and hired John Lynch the way Pete Carroll was hired and hired John Schneider.
Right.
Okay, so Pete always had a seat at the personnel table. Have you noticed that the Seahawks are taking off since Pete left? Because John Schneider is great at what he does, and Pete was not great with personnel. But he had to say, well, Shanahan got the exact same situation in San Francisco or Santa Clara or whatever. Yeah. He was the guy. He makes the $5 million or $10 million or whatever he makes, and he makes more than Lynch. He brought Lynch on. Lynch is his handpicked general manager. I'm not saying that John's a stooge. John's the most credible guy in football. He could replace Roger Goodell and be the commish, as far as I'm concerned. That's how credible he is. The logo could be John Lynch, as far as I'm concerned. John Lynch is the most credible thing, one of the best things that ever happened to the Niners. But right now, to blame him and to not mention Shanahan when Shanahan's making the money, has the final say, and all that, and several of these picks scream Kyle Shanahan impulsive. I wanted Dante Pettis. I needed Jalen Hurd. I believed in C.J. Beathard. I thought Joe Williams. Those are not, don't tell me those are John Lynch picks. That's Kyle. So to write this article about the inefficiency of the Niners drafting and to kind of point the finger only at Lynch, and that on that level, when you're on that stage with that many followers and that many people picking up on it and reading it, I think that was reckless, irresponsible. And he did Lynch wrong, because it's, not that Lynch is not a big boy and can't handle it, but come on, man, this is every single one of those picks are not John Lynch's vision. And now I know he's going to own the whole thing, but he's trying to build consensus. Some of those picks, I can tell by watching the conversations that some of those picks, it's heavily Chris Forster saying, this is my guy. And it's heavily Chris Kasarik saying, I want that guy. And maybe it was Robert Saleh or Raheem Morris going, that's my guy. So John's the puppeteer, but it's a group project. I'm not trying to absolve John of blame. He's a big boy. He can handle himself. All I'm saying is I thought Warren Sharp kind of did John a disservice. They're a team. All of a sudden, they're not a team anymore.
Yeah. I mean, GM's job is to draft. And the position between John and Kyle is somewhat ever changing, like a Brandon Ayuk contract negotiation. Sometimes Kyle is like, you know what? I let John do, whatever John wants to do. I'm tired. I don't want to have the influence. But then he always seems to come in and pull rank, pretty often, frankly. It's somewhat ironic. I can't tell you firsthand if Kyle came in and pulled rank on any of these moves. I'd imagine that the offensive moves he had a pretty hard say in. I don't think he's bringing anyone into his offense that he doesn't hand select. But on a draft weekend where you see, not the singular, but one of the 49ers' biggest rivals, the Rams, have clear discord in the draft room regarding their first round selection. Interesting that, Kyle's pulling rank and maybe calling the shots. I think Sean McVay wishes that he had that power every now and again to call the shots on Les, because I heard firsthand that Les pulled rank on that Ty Simpson thing. That the idea of, it's not as if Sean didn't like Ty Simpson. It's just the idea of not taking something to win now really rubbed him the wrong way. And they've now done this whole damage control on it. He was trying to protect Stafford. He's trying to make sure that Stafford knows that he's his guy. Well, also, he's the head coach of a team trying to win a Super Bowl next year, and you gave him somebody who shouldn't play. So that sucks. That sucks for him. And that wasn't his or, certainly some scouts' call. But Les pulled rank, and he kept talking about vision. Kyle pulled rank in some regards, you have to imagine. And problem is, I don't see the vision with any of this. I don't see a vision with any of this at all. It feels very short-sighted. It feels very here and now. And while there were some selections that I like a hell of a lot, I just don't know how. I don't see any vision whatsoever. I don't see how this helps them against Seattle. I don't see how this takes on the existential crises that this team faces. And I don't see foundational players. Could always be wrong, but what I see are a lot of guys who early on, at the very least, and perhaps in perpetuity, are sub-package guys who are rotational players. And that's not to say they can't be damn good pros and valuable additions to the squad, but I don't see any foundational players that they just brought onto their roster. And I know that's tricky when you have the draft picks that they had, but just uninspiring stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you need foundation pieces and pillars, and you're putting in, fancy new fixtures.
I don't even know if they're that fancy. I mean, that's the thing. It's not even accoutrement. I mean, it's just Stribbling has a chance to be a really, really good pro. So Stribbling has the highest ceiling of all these guys, in my estimation. But like Romelo Height, I really love that pick. I think it's a fantastic pick. I think it's great value at 70. I had him 45th on my board. I think he was better than a hell of a lot of. I thought he was better than Malachi Lawrence, who went in the first flipping round. So,
I'm not worried at all about the lightness, by the way, because the guys always get bigger. The guy did it. He was productive. Plus, think about it logically. Chris Kasarik is a Texas Tech fan. He loves Texas Tech football. He probably I bet you there's only one other non-Niner film he watches every week, and it's probably Texas Tech.
Probably.
And so he has looked, and this is he coaches this position. They had a great defense. He's talked to all their coaches. He knows he knows who's special, who's pretty good. If he wanted this kid, this kid's going to be good. And then if you watch this kid's, the burst, the bend, I mean, that's what the elite rushers have. It's not about bulk or size or strength or anything. It's really about your burst, your short area burst, and your bend. Yeah. And that's why Reuben Bain at short arms doesn't matter. That's why Cassius Howell's not going to matter. And that's why this guy at 238, 245, Charles Haley, when he came out of James Madison, I mean, we remember what he evolved into. But, man, when Charles Haley first came out in the draft and he was a rookie, he had this long, skinny torso, and he looked just really lean. And it was like he probably was like 6'5" and change, like 245. And this guy is 6'2" and a half, 6'3", 235, 238, to whatever, roughly 240. Yeah. And I just think that the same kind of bend and now he doesn't have the same kind of anchor and strength that Charles had, but this guy's got way more explosion and way
Totally.
more bend and way more. He's a little. He's got, to me, this is a kind of a poor man's Brian Burns.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Burns is much stronger, I would argue. I
Yeah.
comped him
Yeah.
to Nick Herbig. In just doesn't really make sense, just keeps getting it done. There's also some Leonard Floyd here, and it's why I probably should have been a bit more adamant when we talked about him a lot on our channel over at Dieter and Hutch, and anytime we'd go, start naming some guys, I probably should have been more adamant about the Niners really liking him on the basis of, I mean, who's Raheem Morris's favorite defensive end ever? It's Leonard Floyd. Anytime he could get him, he got him.
He may still get him. I think Leonard Floyd might be a Niner.
So it's the guy who stands up on the end. And again, what did this team really need? I think that their biggest need, if we're not extrapolating far out or playing this big picture game, they needed another running back, to be sure. They probably need another wide receiver. What they really needed more than anything else was somebody who could just rush the quarterback on third downs. And this guy, you're going to pay a good deal of money for that in free agency, even if that guy can't be on the field for you for the first and second down. But on third down, he's still going to get 10 something $million. Or you can get this kid, Romelo Height, who has a crazy motor, who does have the frame. I mean, he actually looks a lot bigger than he measures. Has the frame to where maybe, you give him a little bit of time, he can be somebody who stands up a little bit in the same way that a Huff stood up a little bit this year. You can put him on the field and it isn't a total liability, but you still get that pass rushing juice. There's some good projectability even for an older prospect. I just thought that was a great pick. And then kind of from that point on, it got a little crazy.
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that. So I agree with you. Height, to me, what stands out is the relentless motor. But then if you do the deep dive on the guy, it's the work ethic. He has a crazy work ethic. So we can see the bend, we can see the juice, we can see the kind of springiness that he has, and kind of he's got really sinewy strength. But and then the motor is really apparent. But then combine that with the knowledge that this guy's going to, bring the work ethic. He's showing up early and he's going to stay all day. I think those, when you marry, once again, motor, work ethic, athleticism, production, that's a good pick. I personally don't believe that those are that big a reaches. I mean, the Stribbling pick was a reach in that I think they should have gone with Chase Basantis. He was on the board. It made perfect sense.
That's a fair thing to say. I will say though, with them having circled Stribbling, I know for a fact he wasn't getting to 58.
No.
I would have a very hard time believing he was even getting to 40 based on all the movement that was happening in the second round there. They'd already traded down twice. They probably could have traded down a couple more picks once again. But if they really, really wanted him, and they would have taken him at 27, the Rams weren't going to have him sitting there at 35, 36, 37 and not go up and get him.
Well, I don't know if you saw what Saleh said, but I don't know if he's just trying to take a little pressure off the Niners or if he was being honest. But he said, hey, if he was there at 34, we were going after him. So, and that's if they hadn't taken Carnell Lake early, right? Because they took Carnell Tate, I should say. Carnell Tate early, and then if they hadn't, he said if they'd gone in a different direction, they were going to go with Stribbling there at the top of the second round. I like Stribbling, 4.36 speed, 10-inch hands. I think he's got to show that he's tough enough. You got to be super tough. Is he tough enough? Can he play through contact? And can he catch it in a crowd and take that lick and hold on? Is he just an outside receiver? He played inside at Oklahoma State. He ran almost exclusively outside routes for Ole Miss, but he was awesome. He made the biggest play of the year. That they were 3rd and 3 on their deep in their own territory against Georgia in that game in the playoff. And Chambliss goes back to pass and he beats his guy down the field, just a simple go route, and got the separation, made the catch, and brought it down at the 29. Yeah. And they were in field goal range, and they kicked the field goal and won. I mean, so that was a huge. He was amazing that night against Georgia.
He was huge in that game
against Georgia. He was great.
Yeah, he had that big one where he pulled away between the hedges, where he just got the ball on kind of a screen sort of thing, if I remember correctly, but then just. There's a lot of potential there. in
But
that.
it's a rookie, though, so there's risk here.
I'll say this. I don't remember them talking about Ricky Pearsall the same way that they talk about Stribbling. And that speaks some volumes because they played Ricky late in that season, that first season. They think it, I think that they are going to actually give Stribbling a shot to play here. Maybe not immediately, but sooner rather than later, because the hardest thing, right? He knows how to block, or at least he's willing to block. He understands that is an important part of playing wide receiver. And Ole Miss, for all of their faults in their offense, does it. The other thing too is curls, digs, slants. He's really, really good at them. It's really hard to find it. You have to actually go through the all 22 and go, really, sift through some shit to be able to find it. But when you see it, it's like, oh, damn, that's really clean. You can play him in the slot immediately, which I think is going to be probably where he starts. So again, kind of a sub-package player. But you have 1 year of Mike Evans at the minimum. Wouldn't shock me at all at his size, with his speed. You come in, now he can be a sacrificial X, and maybe that develops into something further. Again, older prospect for a rookie, so there's a little bit of concern there on kind of how far can you project out if this is already a finished product. But I think that he's, as for a non-first round pick, I think that you should feel pretty comfortable with him coming in and having, the potential to actually contribute on day one in a way that, frankly, only two receivers have for Kyle, which are, Pearsall very minimally, obviously because of stuff, and then Debo, which kind of took half a year. But those are the only two guys, and I think Stribbling could maybe be that third.
I'm really excited about these other two guys as well. Wesley Grimes from NC State. I mean, Wesley Grimes at the pro day ran 4.35, and then last year ran 4.24. He's explosive as hell, and he's got decent size. And then Will Pauling from Notre Dame. There's a lot to like there. I mean,
he might be their punt and kick returner. Yeah,
I like Will Pauling. I mean, think about the traits that he possesses. He was productive. He's tough. He will block. He's got 4.37 speed. He has a 42-inch vertical. He scored 6 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Wouldn't shock me at all.
That's a good pick.
Wouldn't shock me at all if he beats out Cowing and a bunch of other guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's going to be very difficult. To cut him.
Cowing, if you're watching the YouTube channel, you better get ready because this kid is got absolute juice, and it's go time right now. It's like
100%.
It's a competition this summer. It's gonna be good, but I'm excited about those guys. So offensively, you get those 3 receivers, and now you get some vertical. You actually get some speed. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that I really am excited about, now maybe this is just me, but I got to get your thoughts. I like Khalil Dinkins from Penn State. I like the profile of strong blocker, but a buddy of mine who covers Penn State and is there a lot says that his lack of receiving is so much on them. He said it's really not on him. He said this guy's got the ability to catch the ball, and that he looked good in catching the ball in the spring game last year. And I don't know. That's what I heard. But Khalil Dinkins, I love the length, arm length, and the power as a blocker. And I think he's definitely NFL. His dad played in the NFL. I mean, he's got good genes. I think there's more there than what we got at Penn State.
From what I can tell, I think he's got a good shot. I will note, I mean, I scouted 2 Penn State running backs, left guard. Obviously watched a lot of their defense because there were a lot of guys there. Not that has anything to do with Dinkins. Dinkins' name appears nowhere in my notes. Not a spot, which might be an indictment on me. But, I'm watching a lot of Penn State. A lot of it is torturous, if I'm being honest, and he doesn't show up. Now, I will say, having, gone back and deliberately looked for him, I like his hands. He's not, how should we put this, fleet of foot. And his route running feels a bit plodding at times.
What is he, a 4.7 guy or something?
I mean, that's maybe. It doesn't really matter. I think there's like a threshold of where the 40 time clearly has he looks like his shoes are 2 sizes too big, Lair. That's what it kind of looks like.
He's not a big time receiver. I think he never had. I think he had 40 career targets.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But he's underutilized.
But very good blocker. I like his form. Like how the elbows are low and in. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he was put on this planet to do, and that's block. I would have preferred somebody to be drafted at this position, but a great commenter, I think it was Cow Chipto, brought up, or it might have been Benali even, the great commenters we have over on Dieter and Hutch, amongst so many, that we know the politics of the 49ers locker room and how Kyle never wants to tell Christian McCaffrey that he's taking away snaps. Like, are they basically playing the politics game with George by not? No. We totally believe you that you're going to be totally fine for week 1. Well, okay, that's great that you played the politics game and now George isn't angry at you. But you know what? Who's going to be angry? Everybody in Australia when George Kittle is like on the field and looks like complete garbage because he tore his Achilles in January. And I don't care if it was a clean tear, the best kind of tear you could get. What the hell does that? He tore his Achilles in January. He should not be out there. Like, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just running the numbers here. At 32 years old, I'm doubting it. I'm doubting it pretty severely. And is what it is. But it does feel like they could have used anybody to just give them a little bit more depth there that isn't, and apologies, Khalil Dinkins. Like, it feels like they could have done a little something more there, especially in a draft that seemed loaded up.
Here's the 49ers plan with George. On Halloween, finally give him a helmet and fill it with candy and put it in his locker.
I guess.
Don't let him have a helmet until Halloween. If he's playing in an NFL game before November, that is malpractice.
They're going to Larry.
That's not right. That ain't right.
Larry, I've been texting people. Everyone in the league seems to think, and I don't think that they've hidden from this at all, that they expect him to be on the field in week 1, and I just think that's insane. Also, even if he's out there, that's not George Kittle. That's some one-legged version of George Kittle. Yeah. And by the way, it's not like he's playing a position that doesn't require exceptional amounts of ground force to play well. Right. So can he not block now? Like, how is he going to run block with a bad Achilles? Like, how's he going to break off on his routes with a bad Achilles? Because I can't imagine that thing's going to be popping and feeling good, feeling loose. I'll bet on him next year, 27. But for 26, I'm staying far away from George Kittle. And the problem is it doesn't seem as if the 49ers roster as it stands can get far away from him, because it's that or Luke Farrell or Jake Tonjes or, God bless you, Khalil Dinkins.
What I love about Dinkins, though, is the power in the blocking. Yeah. He's got long arms, but he's strong. The Penn State strength and conditioning program's strong.
They do a good job there. I'll give you that.
Players are strong. And And
James Franklin had that going at Vanderbilt, brought it to Penn State. He can't coach worth a lick, but he can identify. I mean, I don't mean to be mean. He can't identify. He is a great CEO. He can't coach football worth a lick, but he can get the processes and systems locked in anywhere he goes. He can get that recruiting done. He can get the fundraising done. He can build that program into something for someone who actually knows football to come in and actually take it to the next level. But man, he is a really good CEO. He should be the commissioner of college football. He'd be great at it, because he can't get these guys to actually be good at football. What he can do is hire good coaches who can kind of get them a certain place. He can't really help them out from there. And then he can get, the facilities to be top notch, and all the speeches are top notch, and that strength and conditioning program, that's how he takes all these 2 and 3 stars at Vanderbilt, turned them into 4 and 5 stars, and had a competitive program there for the first time ever. People thinking that Vanderbilt going around that's James Franklin's program. Karkley's doing a great job, but that's James Franklin's program that he built up, and it just went on a little lull for a while. And then Penn State, same thing. Like, oh, you have money now? Let's see it. So I'll get all these 4 and 5 stars, and we're going to bulk them up, and we're going to put a bunch of pros in the league. We're not going to win really anything except for that one year where it's all going to come together when we get to kind of the semifinal. He'll do the same thing at Virginia Tech, man. They got the baseline there. He'll have those. he'll be churning out pros left, right, and center. They're not going to the playoff or anything, but he'll be churning out pros left, right, and center. James Franklin's got that system down.
I kind of like James Franklin when I watched the Penn State Hard Knocks, which is like all
He's
the
a great
behind the
guy.
scenes.
He's a great guy.
Seriously, he's got a
Garbage
couple
coach.
girls and his wife, and they were doing movie night, and it's like
He's fantastic.
I like James Franklin.
They
don't win. They don't win, but you know what? I
Correct.
like James Franklin, and I don't know. The guy seemed like a solid guy.
He's an outstanding guy. That's all I'm saying. He is much like John Lynch, elite guy, might not actually be good at the job that he's mandated to do. Might be only good at the periphery of the job that he's mandated to do.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Myers, was Bob
pretty good. Bob, y'all don't know the half of what Bob had to go through.
No, I know, but I mean, here's the thing: the greatest personnel people have a coldness about them, and there's a warmth about the guys that we're talking about. And I just think when you're a warm guy in a cold field, you're just not in it for very long.
I'll give you that. That's a good point.
Let's get into the rest of this thing, because this is where it went off the rails, in my opinion.
Sure.
The Niners flinched in the third round with the 90th pick. Now, I love this player.
We're both
fans. I'm sure you loved this player. I'm not sure. I mean, he's got his limitations, and I know his limitations, but his heart is worth an extra round, in my opinion. Which is why I would have taken him in the fourth or fifth round.
That's where
he was probably a sixth round guy.
Right.
In a deeper draft where the NIL thing didn't impact the depth. In a better running back draft, this guy's a sixth round pick. But in this draft, I thought he was more of a fourth or fifth round pick. But for the Niners to take him at 90 in the third round was a major league reach. Now, when people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter," it does matter, because you could have had Jaden Duggar at 90, and then you'd have a plug-and-play left guard, and then you could really pound Seattle and pound the Rams with big force. Instead, you waited. You're probably looking at Connor Colby, or what? You're going to sign Joel Bitonio for.
I still think Robert
year?
Jones is really good.
Okay, Robert Jones. I was going to say you're going to go with an internal option. So you're going to go with one of your internal options. That's fine. But you could have gone with Jaden Duggar. You should have had confidence. I would have totally been with them if they didn't pick in round 4. If they only picked in 154. If their next pick after 90 was 154, and they really loved Kalon Black.
Yeah.
And they thought there was a chance he would go 125, 135, somewhere in there. Okay, fine. But your next pick was 107, and there was no reason. I mean, unless they had intel that is contradictory, and they may have, right?
Maybe.
I don't know. What do I know? I'm sitting here watching it on TV.
I didn't hear it.
My instincts tell me that Kalon Black was absolutely going to be there at 107. He was absolutely going to be there at 127. He was absolutely going to be there at 139. And for them they had 3 picks in the fourth round. And when you have 3 picks in the fourth round to lunge at that guy, now it's unfortunate I'm making a stink about it, because I truly love the player. And I do believe he gets my highest grade. My highest grade is culture player. Okay. If you're a culture player, like if the room changes because you're in it, then you're a culture player. Brock Purdy, small guy, he's a culture player.
Sure.
Dre Greenlaw is a culture player. The Niners felt that room change last year without him. Yeah. And they're not always the best players, but they're culture. George Kittle is a culture player. Okay, the room changes anytime George is in it. Well, Kalon Black is that kind of player for the Indiana program. And he's a leader in the weight room. He's a leader on the field. He has limitations as a back, but he's a north-south guy that runs you over, and he has tremendous leg strength. He'll be great in short yardage. He's going to be great as a complement to CMC. Now, he goes against Kyle's. Everybody's got, I didn't play Brian Robinson because they don't have the same skill set. Well, Kalon, I don't think has the same skill set as CMC. I don't know if he can catch. They never threw it to him.
He can catch. He actually looked pretty good at both. I think it was Senior Bowl. It might have been Shrine Bowl. I went through both of the practices. Forgive me. And then
my favorite running back in the draft, and I know they reached, but I'm torn because literally he was my favorite running back. This kid. Why? Because he's just all heart. This guy is absolutely a fantastic draft pick, and I know it's a reach. It's a bad reach too.
It's a bad reach.
But you know what? This guy this is a tremendous player. I understand why they're in love. They shouldn't have been this in love, but I understand why they're in love.
Yeah, there's a difference between being in love and being whipped. There's a difference between, having. Yeah, I think that me and my wife love each other, but if my wife says some dumb shit, I'm going to say like that's a stupid statement, honey. Sorry, like that's one of the dumber ideas
I've heard. How long have you been married?
Shit, how long have I been married? 6 years. We got married.
That sounds like a relatively new thing. But go ahead.
Well, like if again, like same in reverse. Like there's a difference between infatuation and everything they do is perfect, and puppy love, and being a teenager and being an idiot, and then being an adult and having a partnership, and do anything for my wife and kids. I got to stand in front of the truck. Come on, hit me. Like, that's no problem. But also, I'm aware that they have problems. Like, I'm aware. I am aware that I do not love everything that they all do. And that is what it's great that you love Kalon Black. I like Kalon Black a lot, too. I think he's an extremely high floor player. I agree with you 100% on the character stuff. I think he's a much better version of Brian Robinson. I think a lot of the bill of goods that Brian Robinson was sold as last year, actually Kalon Black can come in and do. Power back, one cut and go, great vision, really good long speed. Takes a while to get up to it, but if he can get through that first level, hey, now he actually got some wheels on him. I do think he can catch it a little bit. Unbelievable pass pro. Like, these are great third down back traits. And if you need a little somebody to come in there and deliver a punch for you because it's December and January and we're playing some fucking football now, this guy can do it for you, as opposed to so many. They had Elijah Mitchell out there doing that. Elijah Mitchell was half of the size of his lineman, literally. So I comped him to a young Tevin Coleman. Who do you think's going to love a young Tevin Coleman more than Kyle Shanahan? So I get it, but this is my big thing. The big word of the week has been consensus. That means nothing. That is a meaningless word that has no bearing on. It is abstract as abstract can be. What is consensus? How many people are we involving in consensus? Have we polled every person on the planet and gotten their big board so that we can have consensus? Like, that doesn't mean anything. There is something at play, though, and it's called a marketplace. Are they playing the market well? Okay, because if I'm out here and I'm shorting a stock or I'm putting shorting a stock, I better have a good read on the marketplace, because otherwise I could lose a hell of a lot of money because I made the play at the wrong time. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to be a holder of that stock, or vice versa. It just means that I didn't play the market right. And there's a big difference between I got the guy that I want and I paid the right price. If you were to go to the store and you were to buy something of, let's call it $300-400, and then 3 days later it costs $179, wouldn't you like go to the store and be like, hey, can I get a discount? I paid for this 3 days before you put it on sale for like 60% of its original price. Wouldn't you feel like kind of a schmuck? Like if you were going out here and you were paying full price when it was just about to go on sale? I know I would. Maybe that's just how I'm wired. So when you're paying number 90 price for Kalon Black, who was Jake's 140th ranked player, who in no way was ever going to be the third,
which is pretty high, by the way. Some people have him even lower than that.
Sure. Again, Jake, we liked him a lot. Not as much as the Niners liked him, but liked him a lot. And again, you just have to look at the marketplace. Okay, bad running back class to the point where, Jamari Taylor doesn't get drafted. He was in my top 100. He was like the guy that I kind of liked. I wasn't a fan of Jonah Coleman, wasn't a fan of Mike Washington. I could talk myself into Emmett Johnson, but not really. Singleton I liked. Randall, okay. Allen, listen, anyone could have been the third. The likelihood that it was going to be Kalon Black felt very limited. It was going to be Coleman. It was going to be Washington. They go at 108 and 122. So, okay, it's not that crazy to get out maybe, 18 picks, 30-something picks ahead of time. But when the next drop-off is Emmett Johnson, who is a very similar player, right? Kind of third down backs. He's at 161. You paid 90. And it better work out now. And by the way, there's no guarantees that anyone, even the players that you feel have the highest floor, ever work out. It has to work out now because you used pick 90 on him. Whereas if you traded down and used pick 152 on him, which I feel very confident he still would have been there for you, now it's like, it was 152. Who gives a damn? Funny money. But you paid actually a bit of a premium. This is a top 100 pick now. There's a premium there. I consider guys that don't do well in the top 100 legitimate busts. And I don't think Kalon Black's going to be a bust, but he better not be. He better not be.
Does it indicate that Jordan James is?
No, actually, so the way that I understand it is that James is the actual backup to McCaffrey if McCaffrey were to go down. So that's that role. And then there's the secondary role, which is the change of pace back and the third down back, or a guy that you can put on the field in the backfield if you want to flex McCaffrey out wide, and you're replacing Juice in the thing. So I don't think that it is actually an indictment on Jordan James, because if McCaffrey goes down, they're going to play Jordan James all the way home with Black as the complementary back, whereas as opposed to, in vice versa. So I think that they view the role that Black is going to play as a specific type of running back, probably, best exemplified late list, or not best exemplified, but most easily recognizable as sort of the Brian Robinson role. Hey, every third or fourth series, this guy's coming in, the Elijah Mitchell role, which is, hey, if things are going well, we're going to bring this guy in. He's going to deliver a little bit of punch, a little bit more thunder to the Lightning. The Tevin Coleman role back in the day to Raheem Mostert, whereas, hey, okay, Tevin Coleman's coming in and he's gonna be the guy here. I think that's how they view it. We'll see if it pans out that way, but I know that they're still very high on James for whatever reason.
This is one of the strongest pound for pound backs I've seen in a while. He's 211 pounds, but he runs with tremendous power. He runs people over.
Yeah.
Greg Cosell, I was listening to an interview we did today on the radio, and Greg's like, I loved him, man. He was the third or fourth best running back in the class to me. Yeah. He's got burst and can go. He runs hard inside. He's a north-south guy. He's super physical, super strong in the weight room. And, Indiana didn't use him as a receiver. Can he catch? I guess we'll find out.
He caught it.
Versatile,
George, he caught it. He caught it. James Madison. He caught in the All-Star game. Again, just real fast. Here are the comps. So my comp for Kalon Black was a young Tevin Coleman. Here are my other comps.
I think that's a good one too, actually, because Tevin was was a really, really gutty player, and this guy's a really, really gutty player. I think this guy might have a little bit more talent, but
but the other guys in this class who would have been available just by comp were Sammy Pirine, Niall Davis, Eno Benjamin, pre-injury Joe Mixon, which that's maybe overstating it a bit for Nick Singleton, a half-step slow Cordell Patterson, kind of Kareem Hunt, Nadeem Hines, crappy Latavius Murray, Chase Edmonds, and then maybe a burstier Jordan Mason on a good day. Also, Jerome Ford. So those were your options. I'll take young Tevin Coleman over all of them, even if it's at credit card interest pricing.
The best backs, you can feel their will. Like you could feel the will of a great running back.
Yeah. You did not feel the will of Brian Robinson Jr. last year, did you, Larry?
You felt the will of Emmitt Smith. When you watched the Cowboys, you felt his will. Yeah. And it's personalities. Sometimes it's special personalities. It's the same as a linebacker.
There's
like something about this guy, though. I mean,
I'm with you.
Something about this guy. And it's almost, I think it's ironic that there's been all this negative pub, because I think there's going to be so much positive. But we'll see.
It's just a really tough number.
Oh, it's an unbelievable reach, but it's almost like It's almost happened for a reason because
I guess he really has to work out. But I cannot believe that these words are coming out of my mouth later. I'm optimistic that it's going to work out for Kalon Black. I think he's almost too good to fail.
Yeah, he's
we're gonna see him at rookie OTAs, and we're all just gonna go like, oh shit. He looks awful.
yeah. He's slow. He can't hit the line.
Oh, no. It's going to be like Trey Lance during training camp. We're like, oh, Jesus.
This guy's broken down. Well, they really dangled there because they took him in front of Mike Washington. And Mike Washington and Ashton Genty could be a real good combo. The Raiders seem like
a nice combo. I was not a Washington guy.
The Raiders have officially gotten up off the canvas.
They did a good job. Yeah.
Spytech knows what he's doing.
Yeah. All right. Like a lot of their picks.
Ooh, look at that. Kev is dropping in hints to say Krug or Dad break. All right. That'd be really weird if he called me Krug. Anyway, the Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or even game outcomes and build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. If you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. When you play $5, you'll get $50 in lineups, and it will happen instantly. And I probably should have put the little graphic up there before I did that, but there you go. It's all got to get up a little higher here.
This is good stuff, Lair.
All right, there we
go. Let's just cover up my name and get my head
just
up,
for a second. Just for a
second.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll Thank you. To
Posture's good. Posture's good. Okay, here we go.
There we go. All right. Can we get rid of it now? There we
go.
Nope. Oh, what in the hell happened there?
You did it to me again, Lair. You son of a bitch.
God dang it. Now I'm pissed. Now I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Jaden Duggar.
All right. Let's get into what happened after that, because so they go at that point with Kalon Black.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are losing their minds, and I get it.
Sure.
By the way, in fairness to the Niners, if you're going to look at their draft class, they did trade their 3rd round draft choice for Osa Odigizua. So you got to kind of put Osa in there, or at least remember that that he was part of this thing. So that's a pretty nice little get too.
Yeah.
All right. But then
that's a good point.
In round 4, 107, I kind of thought this was the best looking player.
Yeah.
That they drafted. And this was Grayson Halton, a defensive tackle from Oklahoma. I liked other guys more, but man, I mean, Dieter, I probably should have liked this guy more, because this guy is faster than almost all of the other defensive tackles I watched this year. And I can't believe how well this guy moves. Give me the Dieter and Hutch draft guide scouting report on Grayson Halton from OU.
I mean, there's just never been a more 49ers 3-tech that's ever existed. He's just if you think 49ers 3-tech, you think, okay, maybe a little undersized, going to get up under the pads, fire off the line of scrimmage. He's just in the backfield. After that, no one knows what the hell's happening. He can make a tackle. He can run in the wrong direction, chicken with his head cut off sometimes. Just get into the backfield and figure it out from there. That is a 49ers 3-tech through and through. That's how Chris Cassera coaches it. Penetrate, penetrate, penetrate. This guy has crazy burst off the line, gets into the backfield, makes some stuff happen every now and again. Does not have the ability to go left or right. He can only go north-south. He can really only go north, but he gets north so well. This is the most obvious our position coach took this guy, banged the table for this guy. Such a great fit. He's going to be, at the worst, Kalia Davis. So you've replaced Kalia Davis, which doesn't say much.
Guy. I think he's better, probably.
I think he has a chance to be much better, because I think that he knows what he's doing when he's back there.
I think he's a little bit more locked into the ground than Kalia. I think Kalia played well last year. I mean, and Kalia, I always love talking ball with Kalia, but Kalia was more of a pass rusher, and he had really thin lower legs. He had a hard time staying healthy. This guy's got a little bit more anchor in his lower body. 26 games played since 2024 for Grayson Halton, 490 pass rush snaps, 9 sacks. Wait for this number. 59 pressures.
That's what he's all about, baby. He's in there. He's in your grill. You got to figure something out. If you want to run to the left or the right, That's going to work out for you because he can't get there with you. His hips do not go that way. That's fine. The name of the game is pressure. I know that people love sacks. Well, it's great if the team gets a sack. That's the goal. The goal really is to just get pressure and then hope that somebody else can get the sack. But if you're getting the pressure, that means more to you. Nick Saban's big about this. Like, sacks are bullshit. Pressures are where the real money is made. Grayson Halton is going to get into the backfield and get pressure. The best case scenario for him is Malik Collins on the Browns last year. The worst case scenario for him, Malik Collins on the 49ers. Either way, you know what you're getting.
You're getting Malik Collins either way.
You're getting a Malik Collins. You just got to figure out which one it is. I just think it's going to be a really, really nice fit. And just watch this dude explode. I mean, it's just.
We're going to play this. This is actually has some guys' little commentary on it.
Okay.
I just want to say before we play the commentary, Dieter and I may not necessarily agree with the commentary, but here it is.
Oh, Oklahoma defensive tackle Grayson Halton stole the show at the combine last week.
Sure.
He ran a 4.82 in the 40-yard dash at 6'3", 293 pounds. And when you turn on the tape, you can immediately see the type of explosive athlete he is. On this rep, Oklahoma is running a stunt, so this one tech is going to slant to pick the center.
Of course they were, by the way.
And you'll see that 40-yard dash show up here as he chases down the reverse pass all the way to the sideline. It's just wild to see a defensive lineman move that fast.
Yeah.
They run a similar stunt here with Halton.
God, they ran so many goddamn
Watch how he just mauls the center.
Get out of here.
And he keeps his motor churning, collapses the pocket, and sacks the quarterback.
I love him.
That was
on
a
this
great rep.
Missouri's running split zone.
I remember this.
Watch what he does here to beat this reach block by the center.
Yep.
At the snap, he fires off the ball.
Bam.
Flips that left shoulder to get skinny. Then look at the power to completely stop the center's lateral movement.
Gotcha.
Then he blows up the run for an 8-yard loss. Just an awesome rep by him there.
Yep.
Here he'll be lined up as a nose tackle, and just watch how explosive he is off the ball. Oklahoma runs a tech stunt here, so Halton's going to slant towards the strong side B gap with the edge looping in. And at the snap, look at how quick and explosive his get off is. The protection wasn't on the same page, but still.
I watched that game for him. That was he was great.
This dude is a straight up disruptor in the trenches. And his draft stock is going to the moon.
Not really. He got picked. I had him at like 75 overall. So yeah, what did I have? 73 overall. He goes 107. I loved him. Thought he was a perfect scheme fit. Big fan.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice pick, man. Those highlights, he looks like might be one of the best defensive players on the team.
Well, I'll tell you, those highlights.
That is a fast 3-tech right there.
Yes, and so you look at the weight. I really have an issue with guys who are under 300. I made an exception for him because he delivers such a punch.
What's the arm length? What's the arm length? Do we know?
I don't recall.
I got to check that because that to me is.
He's really, really good. I do not think he's going to be some Pro Bowler, but like in terms of think about a Digizua, like what is it that he's great at? Now, I think Digizua is much bigger, so that's a different kind of explosion. But Digizua is like I get in the backfield, I make stuff happen. Okay, you got Grayson Halton. What does he do? I get in the backfield, I make stuff happen. You're in my way, I'm going to punch you. Like great. This is what you're looking for. This is a great scheme fit. This is a great draft pick. Between him and Height, I gave those both A+. I like the Stribbling pick as a B. Kalon Black's like a D or a C because of the value, but I love the player. I can separate the art from the artist. And then it gets wild.
The athleticism of Halton, though, 36.5-inch vert on a guy who's basically 300 pounds.
Well, not shocking given that with that explosion, that's what they look at. They look at broad jump, they look at vertical leap, and they look at not at that position, but they like shuttle and 3 for explosion. In that position, they don't give a damn. It's just how wide can you broad jump, how high can you jump, and he can do both very well.
1.7 on a 10-yard split for a 295-pound man is pretty good. San Diego kid, 4.8 240. 10-inch hands, huge hands. 31.5-inch arms, not very long arms.
No, but I really don't care so much about arm length on the defensive line. I can understand it for edges. If you have heavy hands, you can disengage still. It's nice, this idea of, you can hold the lineman at a distance while you move away from them. You get the leverage on them. Like, That's show me defensive plays where that's happening. Show me on the interior of the defensive line where you're getting full extension on your arm length.
You know what this guy's going to do? It's like he's going to be, excuse me, guys, this is what a tackle for a loss looks like. I mean, that's what this guy's done. Yeah. Look at his college career. 2023, he had 3.5 tackles for loss. 2024, he had 6 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. 2025, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks.
If they and by the way,
a lot of forced fumbles too.
I noted it in my Mystery Science Theater 3000 of that video there. But all Oklahoma does is run stunts. All they're doing is games up front. So a lot of times he was asked to just go out there and take on double teams, but not in the original gap. Take on double teams looping and having guys come around him. So not only that, like he was a hell of a team player as well, in that he was oftentimes, I would say often, sacrificing himself so that an R. Mason Thomas can come around unblocked. And then R. Mason Thomas gets to go in the 2nd or the 3rd round. I don't remember where he got drafted, but gets to be talked about as a possible first-round pick as Grayson Halton's out here doing all the dirty work to make sure that that's possible. So now he's going to be in a system that will ask him to do none of that. Theoretically, that could change. But, like, if I know Chris Kasarik, they ain't changing squat. They haven't in 10 years. And get in the backfield, go, dip underarms, do whatever you got to do. That's a dangerous man to be giving that simple a mandate.
Oh, this is the perfect complement to Collins and West. They need a guy inside who can rush the passer with speed and power and agility and play the games, the twists, the stunts. They love playing games. This guy's great at that. This guy's got foot agility. This guy's got body control. He's got power. You can see it. I
disagree that they love playing games. In fact, I don't think they like playing games nearly enough.
Well, they were
tried
playing
a
ton of games. They were playing a ton of games. I mean, this last year with Collins and West, I think, that takes a little bit more coordination. It also takes pass rushers, and they didn't really have interior rush. I think Chris, though, if you talk to Chris, he likes to have guys on the move, especially against, pocket passers.
I'll give you that.
You're crossing their face a bunch. So I love the Halton pick.
Halton's great.
That to me was like, all right, hey, now we're cooking with grease.
Cooking.
Yeah, I mean, you got something going. And that's,
by the way, if you flipped Kalon Black and Grayson Halton,
I would have had no problem.
Yeah. Like if you flip those,
exactly.
You feel a lot better. If Grayson Halton goes 90, you're like, hell yeah. If Kalon Black goes 107, you're like, that okay, maybe still a little rich, but like, okay. So think about it that way. I don't know.
My only thing is I would have loved to have seen them double down on one of these positions. And this would have been the position because you got, big guys that can move are hard to find. And if you got Halton, I would have tried to get like a Zane Durant or somebody like that. Or maybe the guy that went to Arizona. I love Proctor, Caleb Proctor, who went to Arizona. But so
he's going to be. So, Proctor's going to be an interesting one because I actually really disliked him as a 3-tech, but I could see him as a 4-tech really easily. He's like such a weird tweener that I think he needs to be like a 4 or a 5-tech in a tight front, TITE, and that's what Arizona runs, and they will be running still. So I'm very interested to see how that goes.
I think he's going to be a guy that's body is going to change over time too because he hasn't. He's going to be a guy that I think is going to get lighter and faster because I think from what I've heard, he's super dedicated. Let's talk about the next pick. The next pick was Carver Willis, a guard from Washington. He was actually the left tackle at Washington.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. I was listening to Guy Haberman. He said he'd talked to some people from UW who said, this Carver Willis is a great athlete and that he's a perfect fit for the Niners and that Washington runs the Niners scheme. And
they do.
They think he's, going to be really good because he's aggressive but it is a 4th round at 127 conversion attempt from a left tackle to a guard. There's reasons to believe that this guy is a very good prospect.
Yeah.
Chris Foerster obviously was given a couple picks here, and he put one on Willis, and he put one on Enrique Cruz.
Yeah.
And I really hated this pick at the time, and I only marginally like it more now. But obviously, Willis is an athlete. I just thought, come on, man. It's pick 127. I won't bother with the exercise of taking out the mock draft and seeing who was on the board, but there was a lot of freaking great players on the board. And to go with you've already signed Robert Jones, who's you're going to start. You've got, you've got Brett Toth, you've got Verdarian Lowe, and so you got 3 new offensive linemen. You have your 5 existing starters, and now you're going to draft 2 more developmental, not Chase Basantis, who's plug and play and he's going to start. It's like Enrique Cruz and Carver Willis, who, if everything goes right, are going to beat out your free agents. So the plan at offensive line is either, it seems like it's like, okay, we're going to take a couple bites in the draft, but I like Enrique Cruz a little bit more than Carver Willis. When I looked at the film, I think Enrique Cruz has got some special traits there. He's got real athleticism, and I could see him being a starter, but neither of these guys is going to be a left tackle.
No.
One guy, Willis, is a guard, and Enrique Cruz is at best he's a right tackle. And to have 2 picks I don't know, they treated those that's a 4th round pick on Willis, and that's a 5th round pick on Cruz. They treated those picks almost like 7th round picks because they were the Niners' last picks. They were way better players on the board.
Yeah, I would have rather had. No, I'm with you. I would have rather had Jaeger Burton. I would have rather had Pat Coogan. I would have rather had Bo Stevens. I would have definitely.
Stevens. Did you see the Bo Stevens film that when he went to Seattle? He's got a wrestling background. He was burying people.
I really liked Bo Stevens. I loved Connor Lew. I thought Connor Lew was the best center in this draft class.
Didn't he go next?
And he literally went next. And there's some speculation, probably baseless, but speculation that they're viewing Willis as the heir apparent at center. Mm-hmm. Shit, I got the heir apparent at center, the best center in the draft, and Connor Lew, who went 128 because he tore his ACL in October. So, what
do you think of Willis, though? What did your guys' report say?
I see the scheme fit. There are some positives. He's not a scrub, but I didn't have a draftable grade on him at tackle or guard. It's not to say that he didn't deserve a spot on an NFL roster. He's a scrapper. He can really move. He's really good at getting to the second level and making something happen there. That's obviously something the Niners really, really like in their scheme. I think he can deliver a punch. My concern is that when he goes to his right, he gets thrown around like a rag doll. I mean, the Ohio State tape, he goes to his right like 3 times, and each time he gets flipped, like physically flipped. It was wild. Really raw technique in a lot of areas. It just felt like a wild overdraft. Like who was chasing down Carver Willis in the 4th round that you felt the need? You got to make this happen. It's very reminiscent of last year with Nick Martin, where it's like, oh, well, we circled 4th round as the offensive guard round, and all the guys that we like are gone. So who's next up? And it's like, well, he's like a 6 or 7. Well, whatever, we'll still take him because who cares? Carver Willis is,
to me,
just a bad value.
Horrible. He looked horrible. I'm going to show you.
I like the second level stuff.
Okay, because he's definitely like an athlete. He's an athlete, and he can get off and pick people off. But he's a lunging guy. He lunges.
That's what I'm saying with the technique.
And he loses balance. I mean, here's an example.
He has bad upper body strength. He's all footwork. Which, did you watch the Seattle games? What are we doing here? How does this guy help you beat Seattle? I don't think he does. What I think he is just the exact same center you have right now. Later, which that's going to go over great. I mean,
look at this. Look at this rep.
Yeah, I know this one.
Lunging, loses balance, could have tore his ACL. I mean, it's like that. He doesn't look, Now, granted, he's going to move into guard, but he's going to move into guard out of necessity.
Correct. Well, he has very short arms. The feet are fine. Feet are pretty good, actually. You kind of like it. He just doesn't have any upper body strength.
But in the 4th round, an undersized converted.
Larry, it's a terrible draft pick. I'm not in any way justifying it. I don't think he should have been drafted. I remember watching that. I remember watching the Oregon film.
That was, that one right there just was like, What?
The Ohio State film's just as bad. I think he got injured halfway through that, or they replaced his ass.
You're telling me that guy, I mean, I think Jeremiah Wright went to the Saints a couple picks later. It's like, God, Jeremiah Wright, I know, is gigantic and was going to struggle with the movement, and he's a different kind of player. But I mean, at some point, don't you have to match up with the strength that Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams possess inside? I mean, you were going to outquick Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams? I mean,
this is my biggest takeaway. I think they really believe that their issues against Seattle were not up front, but in fact on the peripheral with the tight ends and the wide receivers.
Well, but Dieter, if that is true, then why on 4th and 1 would you run to the perimeter instead of running up the middle, when running up the middle is the fastest point between 2 points is a straight line, but you're going to go a slow.
Larry, the term is cognitive dissonance. It was a 4th and 1 with a trick on it. And then you watch it and you go, actually, it was blocked okay. Like Brendel did a nice enough job. Everyone did okay. And then you get to Juice, and then it's like, oh boy, here's Tonjes and Farrell on the outside. And how'd that go? And if George Kittle was in there, that wouldn't have had. Yeah, no, you still have one of those two missing their block on the outside. And, I think it was I can't remember if it was DeMarcus Robinson on the right. Like, he's not blocking it. So what else can I believe? But they believe, oh, well, our wide receivers and our tight ends didn't block well enough. By the way, we'll do almost nothing to approach that subject. So let's just keep our offensive line the way it is. This is where I'm getting to. They don't have foundational players. They went out and they got good players that can fill immediate roles. And maybe there's something more there. But then when they get into the later rounds and they start taking swings on guys that, hey, maybe this is your boom or bust thing, right? Because it's the late rounds in a bad draft. Maybe this is the spot where you can go and get it. They just doubled down on what they already have. And what they already have is a roster that in 2 or 3 years is going to run out of foundational pieces and have no one to come in and replace them. And you'll just have a bunch of bit players and Brock Purdy and who the hell knows after that. But 2 or 3 years, I don't think Fred Warner is going to be the same Fred Warner. I don't think Nick Bosa is going to be the same Nick Bosa. I certainly don't think that George Kittle is going to be the same George Kittle. Christian McCaffrey sure as hell ain't going to be the same Christian McCaffrey. You're going to be out of foundation players, and then you're going to have your little bitty quarterback in front of us behind an offense. You won't have Trent Williams behind an offensive line that's just trying to angle their way to victory in a league that is going to copy everything that Seattle did because they don't have their own ideas. They'll just take whatever the leader does. They are going right down the pipeline for a real issue here. This, when we talk about the importance of the draft, it's not immediate. This immediate knee-jerk reaction of, oh, they did a bad job drafting. Okay, fair enough. I can agree with a lot of that. I disagree with some of it. It's the long-term ramifications of not hitting year after year on foundational players, not having guys that deserve second contracts. And this is what I forgot. 2 or 3 years from now, they're in trouble.
I forgot that I didn't tell you my stat of stats.
There you go.
This is unbelievable. Wait until you hear this. You want to know what the Niners' problem is? This is it. This is the only autopsy needed for why are the 49ers are in this kind of predicament where they've fallen behind the Seahawks and fallen behind the Rams. All right. From 2020 through 2023, 4 drafts. The 49ers have 5 guys that are still on the team. 4 of the 5 were day 3 picks. The only from those 4 drafts, the only day 1 or day 2 guy left is Jair Brown.
Yeah.
Wait for this. Day 1 and day 2 between 2020 and 2023.
Who was a 3rd round pick.
Right. But
sucks.
2020 through 2023, the Niners took 12 players in the first 3 rounds. And the only guy that they quote unquote hit on is Jair Brown.
That's a stretch.
Over 4 drafts, the 49ers had an 8% hit rate on their day 1 and day 2 picks, with Jair Brown being their biggest success.
Well, and I would argue that Jair Brown
over a 4-year span.
This time next year, Jair Brown's not going to be on the 49ers, and he won't have another contract with the 49ers. So
that's startling, though. 4-year span, all you got out of the first 2 days of the draft is Jair Brown that's still on the roster over 4 recent drafts. That's the issue. I mean, we could talk about this draft all day and all night. I actually kind of like this draft, but that's the issue. And then the question is, what do you do about it? And if you're Jed, this is really, really tricky because it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to Lynch is Kyle's handpicked guy. Kyle's really valuable. You're going to piss off Kyle and he's going to take off, and then you're going to lose your head coach and you're going to start all over from scratch. It's like, I don't think Jed can finesse this. I really don't. I think this needs for Kyle to just coach and for John to be the president and for them to have a really good, young, great GM, the Sam Presti of the NFL, and start winning Super Bowls. The Niners are winning in spite of their drafting, not because of it. And if they could clean this thing up, I think they would have great success in seeking that 6th Lombardi. As far as this draft goes, I think one real good thing. I think they're adding six players to their front. Romelo Height, Grayson Halton, obviously Oso Digizua.
Yeah,
no doubt. So those 3 for sure. And then I really like the undrafted defensive lineman
out of Illinois.
I love James Thompson who started at Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, and you were a Kamara guy, to be fair.
And I'm a Kamara guy
for that one.
I love Kamara and I love James Thompson, and I have all through the process. And then today, Cosell, I was listening to Cosell. He loves Bryson Eason from Tennessee. Cosell really liked his tape.
Oh, I liked him too. I forgot that he signed.
He's 325 pounds. He's converted inside linebacker with 33.5-inch arms. He's got long arms. He plays. He makes tackles out of his area.
Yeah.
He's interesting. But James Thompson, I got to show you the James Thompson. The James Thompson footage from the East-West game is just ridiculous. I mean, this guy's James Thompson had 36 reps of 225. That's why he looks so strong, because he is so strong.
Yeah, I thought Eason was a definitely day 3 guy, moves the line of scrimmage. If he wasn't in Tennessee, he'd be like a day 2 guy. But yeah, I like him. I like him.
Look at this. This is the rep. This is every practice rep from Frisco, Texas, going into the East-West game.
For whom?
For James Thompson. And what you're going to see here is a guy who's got quick feet.
I remember.
He's 310 pounds. He's 6'6". Yep. And he's got power. 36 reps, and you can see the power. That was Armaj Adams there from A&M. Look at him.
I remember.
He's moving him.
Larry, no one poured over the Shrine film.
Look at that, Caden Barnett. He's just turning him.
Yep.
Look at that. I mean, this guy's got really big hands. He's really strong. He's from Cincinnati. He's kind of a badass.
There are some warts. I can see actually why he went undrafted. He's maybe more hustle than not, but when he wins big. When he loses, he really loses. he would get worked over, man. It was kind of a tough watch.
I mean, I like look at this quickness. He just made.
Well, that's the same rep we just saw. They just keep showing this Adigizua one.
I'm sorry, that's a Wee-Woo.
That's a Wee-Woo. Apologies.
Yeah.
They just keep showing that one. Not great for your man, a Wee-Woo, but a Wee-Woo had a great Shrine Bowl. And listen, that's a nice pickup. They actually did a really good job in undrafted free agency this year, which is good because not totally sold on what they did on day 3. Kind of like the same thing. Like if you just flipped around some of these picks, it'd feel a lot better, but is what it is. Whoever makes the roster makes the roster.
Yeah. The Mikhail Kamara thing is interesting as well. I mean, what do you think? What do you make of Mikhail Kamara? I mean, he's a 6-foot guy with a kind of a bad body. He's like 260 pounds. He doesn't look very good in the uniform.
Damned if he didn't win though.
But man, he blocked a punt in the Natty, probably the biggest play of the game, and he's a sack guy. He had a bunch of sacks his junior year. He's a hardworking guy with long arms and a motor and 260 pounds. I mean, something tells me he's going to be able to play.
Yeah, I like the undrafted free agents because they brought in guys that are clearly going to make it difficult to cut them. Like Pauling is the perfect example. Kamar is going to be out there, and it probably won't work if we're being honest. But you know who's going to have a really, really bad July and August? Robert Beal. Because
is he on the team anymore?
I think he's still on the roster. He's just going to have a really bad one. Or even if he's not. Apologies.
Here's
Cameron
a
Sample
film.
You know, come on and figure out what you're about. He was a really good player for them. And honestly, just give me all of your Indiana players. Here we go. I'm just going to win.
Yeah, this guy's nasty.
Don't mind though that these are, two of the best offensive lines in college football that he's been against. No, I'm not sure this is the best rep I've ever seen. Not sure this really means anything.
Well, I mean, that's good close right there.
That's a hell of a close.
Yeah.
Not going to be asked to do that all that often at the NFL level, but it's nice that it's
Bama,
there.
all right.
Yeah, here's Bama. They couldn't block anything.
Cuevas and let him go right now.
Yeah, he just figures it out.
Kind of a bad body, shorter arms.
Wouldn't shock me if they lined him up on 3-tech on like a third down every now and again. Just go push.
He's got pretty good functional strength, doesn't he?
Yeah, this is why I don't worry too much about arm length if you keep winning with it. Like, yeah, not everyone's going to be Myles Garrett and just be a perfect specimen. Some guys are going to be tall. Some guys are going to be short. Can you win? Like, this guy's strong as hell. He's going to win that way. If he's got any counter to that whatsoever, it's great. Yeah, here's the closing speed again. No, I thought he was a good player. I didn't think he was draftable because, again, just the specs. But he's going to be hard to cut. That's what you're looking for in undrafted free agents. Meanwhile, I think they might cut like 2 or 3 draft picks.
I know. It's going to be hard for... Well, why don't we get back to that? I mean, the other one that I thought was kind of interesting was it. So they go with we got to Halton, and then they go to Carver Willis, and now we're coming up on 139 in round 4, and they go Ephesians Prysock.
Yeah,
and this to me just looked like a big swing at a number 1 corner. I didn't like this pick because I was hoping for either Jalen Kilgore as a safety, or if they were going to go corner, Keith Abney from ASU was there. And Keith Abney, to me, was a guy that some people liked at the end of the first round or the top of the second round. We're now
I never saw that, but Keith Abney's actually
Abney's the guy who's the
I know
he's like a tag guy or something. I don't know, speed skating, or I forget what it is.
Oh yeah. He was a speed skater.
But he's a great athlete. And
I didn't personally care for Abney, but like I think what was the number? Apologies. 139. So here Abney was on the board. My guy Chandler Rivers was still on the board.
Yeah. Chandler Rivers, I know he's small, but Chandler Rivers is awesome. Why would you not want Chandler Rivers on your team? He's been fantastic in the ACC.
What the fuck's Ephesians Prysock gonna like? Ephesians Prysock might work out.
It's a big swing. It's a major swing.
It's just traits. He has the ability to be a zone window like blocker because he's so big.
He reeks of PI.
It doesn't reek of it. I mean, it is well documented.
Yeah, I'm just saying, look at his track record. He's got tons of penalties. He has a hard time in transitions. Even though he's got long levers and long limbs, he has a hard time kind of coordinating it. So he gets turned around, and this is in the college game. Now, he is big, tall, rangy. I mean, it is.
I almost wondered, Lair, if
it's a big swing.
I almost wonder if he'd be better as a safety, but then you watch him, and I just don't think the play recognition is there. But he's really good at coming in and delivering a hit in the run. I mean, Washington put out a highlight film of him, which was rough.
He's rangy.
He can move. It is unnatural for someone that big to move that fast. It doesn't mean that he's good at football, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, it might all work out wonderfully, and Ephesians Prysock is just an elite player. He has the talent to be that guy. I don't know why it would show up at the NFL level when there was barely a hint of it at the college one. There was never moments where you're like, wow, Ephesians Prysock, he's really controlling this game. No, he felt always out of control. He always felt 2 steps behind. The corners that I like feel 2 steps ahead. Like a Chris Johnson or a Mansour Delane, and obviously that's not fair comparisons. They're first-round picks. But when you watch those guys, they're operating at levels that no one else is at. They're 3 steps ahead. Ephesians Prysock is always like, wait a minute, what? Huh? What? Okay, I'll get over there. Now he can make up the distance, but just watch when you watch Ephesians Prysock take, just run that soundboard through your head of him going, wait a minute, what? Huh? Oh, okay. He doesn't seem like he knows what's happening out there. Not a great trait for a corner.
Yeah, I mean, he's big and rangy, but here he is against Malachi Fields. Actually, why don't we show this? This is kind of interesting. Did you see this film against Malachi Fields?
I don't believe I watched the Notre Dame film. I think I watched.
This is not that. This is this is just a rep from the Senior Bowl. Let me see.
Oh boy, I'll have to check my notes on that one.
Here we go. Here's a little Prysock against Fields. Now Fields is a good route runner. Fields has got good size.
And Fields made himself a lot of money. Yeah, okay. I remember Prysock during Senior Bowl, but it's coming back to me. Handsy. Check my notes. Pretty sure it's just going to say handsy.
I mean, he's all over him there, but you know what? He is. I mean, he's there.
He's frighteningly fluid. Again, don't ask him to actually open up his hips and go in or out. He's just a zone. There's nothing wrong with being a zone corner, but I would just prefer if he was a zone corner who felt like he was playing a step or two ahead, because then you can jump routes, you can do some fun stuff with that ability. When you're a step or two behind, it seems constantly you're Darrell Luter, who I call the restraining order because he has to stay 6 feet away from everybody at all times. And that's what he has going on here.
Here he is against Ian Strong, Carnell Tate, and Jeremiah Smith.
This is the tape I watched, amongst others. It was, yeah.
So where is he, on the bottom?
Yeah, he's on the bottom.
Yeah, there he is. Okay, you got a PBU there.
Bad throw.
But it seemed like he had him by the corralled around the waist.
Correct.
Yeah,
because
these
he's
are holds.
A step behind. Correct.
So he's going to have to be able to run with the receivers, and we'll
I'm
see.
sure
he's
so much easier at the NFL level.
He's a very long corner, though. I mean, I will give you that. I mean, he is a long corner. He's an outside corner. He's got athleticism for days, for sure. But it's just a matter.
I think there's a level of like, hey, we liked Akello Witherspoon. What if he could tackle? And it's like, okay, that's fine. But also, Akello Witherspoon made everybody get a prescription for heartburn medication. So,
and he's on his sixth team right now.
Right. Which, a credit to him. Maybe that's Ephesians Prysock's thing. He could actually, I'll say this, he could be an elite special teamer.
As what?
Like, a gunner?
No. Well, I mean, my question is, what your comment was before, I kind of agree with, which is, I think it's going to be hard for several guys to make the team, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all if he shows up and they go, "Oh, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Cut him."
This guy can't. Because I mean, look how many guys are there. He's got Jack Jones. You got Luter. What if Luter suddenly, sees a big corner and says, "You know what? Now I'm going to figure it out."
Maybe. I mean, they'll never cut Saran Neal, heaven forbid.
They won't cut Saran Neal. He's your special teamer.
I do think that Prysock, they might be. It wouldn't shock me. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I have no intel on this, but it wouldn't shock me if they're like a week or two into camp and they're like, Ephesians Prysock's now playing free safety for us. We're going to give him a try there.
Wow.
Which is
that would be. I mean, he's a big cover. I mean, in a coverage. Well, what do you think of that? I mean, the game is becoming more of a coverage game. What do you think?
It might work. I just don't. I think
you have a safety that's not physical.
I disagree on him not being physical.
But for a safety.
Well, not for a. Well, kind of like an.
He might be physical for a corner. I think he is kind of physical for a corner, but
he's pretty physical
for a safety. He's pretty linear.
Kind of like our was it a Hooker, former Indianapolis guy, something of that range. Malik Hooker, thank you. I was going to say Armani Hooker, which that's a whole other thing. By the way, going to Vegas later in the month. So that's Armani Hooker. That's my new code name.
That's your alias at
alias
the Win?
In Las Vegas. Yeah, keep it on the down low. Abe Froman's out. Armani Hooker is in. And I
go by Peja Stojakovic. I mean,
there you go. There you go. For 3.
Yes.
So, yeah, listen, I didn't love the pick. I think Jake had a 6th. I had a 7th on him. It felt like a stretch. It felt like they wanted Will Lee or Malik Muhammad or Keontae Scott, and then they weren't there, and they're like, shit, who's left? We like Prysock. He's got traits. It also, Lynch comes out before the draft and he's like, we're having AI help us out with this. And I think a lot of people ran with that as if they're just using like ChatGPT, which of course they're not. It's a large language model built on their database so that it's more easily searchable. That's fine. But it does sometimes feel like they're like, who is most athletic corner still available? It kind of felt like that
He's not been arrested.
Yeah. Sort by leadership skills, which is our running joke on the show. Like, I don't see it with Prysock, and maybe it all clicks in.
I didn't see it with that position. I mean, what do you need another corner for? I mean, what? I mean, unless they view him as a safety. Unless they view him as a safety.
You know why they want another corner. I think you've been banging the drum on why they want another corner. I think that they want somebody that when they ship off Renardo Green halfway through the year, because Renardo Green still doesn't get it, that they can slide everybody up. Because listen, I didn't think that they were trading Renardo Green this offseason, but if Renardo Green doesn't show up as a new man, they'll ship him out for nothing. Right? They'll give up on him at the deadline with ease, or they'll cut him at the end of the year. But they couldn't cut him. They couldn't cut him or trade him this early. No one's going to go for him this early. So they are not at all thrilled, nor should they be, with the lack of attention and focus, both on and off the field, that Renardo Green has displayed, and maybe Ephesians Prysock being a much better athlete, also handsy. Definitely someone who wants to help in the run game. Maybe just having him in there as not an heir apparent, but somebody who is unquestionably as talented, if not more talented physically, can spark something in him. And maybe he is right for this scheme and this system, of which I still don't quite know what it is. I still don't quite have a good read on what they're going to be running. Raheem Morris is going to be running this year for the 49ers. It's going to be zone. It's going to be 4 down man, maybe a fifth every now and again. You're going to have 2 linebackers stacked up. After that, anybody's guess.
Jaden Duggar played safety at Georgetown, and they took him linebacker out of Louisiana, 6'5", 240. Kind of an interesting player in that he's raw. He needs to be coached up. But man, he's raw. But I mean, this guy had 125 tackles. That it's not like he's not doing nothing out there. He's doing.
Well, it was hard to believe, man, because I've been spending
6'5", 35-inch arms.
I've been spending the last 2 days watching this guy's tape, and I swear to God, I have no idea what KJ Wright has seen. I do not get it at all. He was a terrible defensive end, with maybe a little bit of flash here or there, but just light, getting blown off the line a lot. Unless he was able to ghost move him to where you couldn't get a hand on him. It was there. The highlight videos are cool. The highlight videos are 3.5 minutes long, and they don't show the lowlights. And the lowlights are so much more damning than the highlights are exciting.
Well, you would expect lowlights. This guy's pretty raw. I mean, but what you're really
what is that play? He doesn't get. He's not getting touched. Here's the sack. He doesn't get touched.
Right.
This is how the entire game is. If he doesn't get touched, it doesn't matter. If he gets touched, it's over for him, save for once or twice. And it's like, KJ Wright, I had a higher opinion of how you played the game.
Do you think he's a pass rusher, or do you think he's a stacked backer?
I don't think he's either. I don't think he's good enough to be either. He wasn't good at Louisiana the last 2 years, Larry. I've been grinding.
He's like 5th in the nation in tackles.
Yeah, well, who was leading the nation in tackles?
Come on, though.
No. You have to watch it first off. Look at the solo tackles.
I'm not gonna. I've not done the deep dive on this guy. But,
I've been watching ULL versus Texas State, ULL versus Delaware. By the way, the Delaware tape looks awesome. You know why? Because Delaware was transitioning from FCS last year. Oh, and he kicked Louisiana Monroe, one of the worst programs in college football, if not the worst ass. Kicked their ass. This is I know this rep. There was 2 other good reps in this game. What you're not seeing is that 76 there, if I got that number right.
Edge rush type blitzer off the
right,
edge.
and you put him on the left side in that same game. That's in 2024 at Texas State. You put him on the left side in that one. He had 2 ghost moves where he did a little stutter step to the inside that you're like, oh, okay, there's something going on here. And then you watch the rest of it. By the way, he played less than half the snaps in that game. They only played him at edge rusher in the second half of that game, when they're like, I guess we have to do something here to mix something up. So he wasn't even on the field in the first half. I wasted good 20 minutes of my life watching the first half of Texas State versus ULL from 2024.
What he is a long athlete chess piece. That isn't it pretty much it. I mean, he's got ridiculous length. I mean,
he's a pawn.
Got the longest arms.
He's a pawn if he's a chess piece. This guy's not a good football player. He's a great athlete. He's not a good football player. I would have rather taken the guy who has never played football before, because at least I can imagine.
Uar Bernard.
He's never played football before. He got drafted. That I would rather have that than watch Jaden Duggar get absolutely engulfed rep after rep after rep. He has all this talent. Why couldn't he find a position at Georgetown, at ULL? They're moving him all around. They're barely playing him. He had 125 tackles. I swear.
He led the Sun Belt in solo tackles.
And Larry, I've watched.
He also played 380 snaps of special teams too.
I'm sure he could be a very good special teamer. That's fair, because
that's
just
be
athleticism.
Special teamer. I mean, that's what he's going to be as a
rookie.
Rookie.
I've watched 7 of this guy's games over the last 48 hours. Let me tell you, Larry, 80% of his tackles have to be him coming in at the very last second and kind of touching somebody's ass after the tackle's been made as an assisted tackle. The looseness of assisted tackles at the college level is so obscene, and I don't know what they got cooking in the summer. The University of Missouri score, and I actually sent a text about this, whoever is keeping the tackles for the University of Missouri did this kid a $1 million solid, because he had 3 good plays and about 50 absolute garbage, damning plays. Not just bad, damning plays beyond that one. And he gets ready. He had 8 tackles in this game. I do not get it. I watched every rep that he had at the Senior Bowl again.
Here he is shooting the gap. I mean, he got
if
through
you
the
don't touch him, he's great. That's not football. How is that going to operate at the NFL level?
Well, I mean, this guy is obviously going to have to be some kind of sub-package player. But I mean, you're talking about a guy with tremendous athleticism and
length.
There's
a lot of tremendous athletes. It's the NFL.
So by closing space, and that why is Nicky Manwari good? Nicky Manwari doesn't have good instincts either. By the way, he's just as fast as hell and just shoots gaps. I don't know.
Nicky Manwari was a borderline first-round selection last year because of his athletic traits. Why is it that when this guy got drafted, I had someone in an NFL draft room go, "What the hell are they doing?"
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody fell in love with this guy, but there's definitely
I'll tell you who did.
His
KJ
length and
Wright
athleticism.
Maybe
KJ Wright sees himself.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly
what
he said.
6'4",
and you know what?
Lumber.
I had a much stronger opinion of KJ Wright's game in the NFL than he had of his own. If KJ Wright can turn this guy into an NFL player, KJ Wright doesn't just deserve to be a DC. He deserves to be a head coach.
But I mean,
this guy ain't going to – I feel bad.
Forget a second. Wait, hold on a second. Let's go back to this rep right here.
Sure.
You're telling me – look at the space that –
Oh, Larry, you know what? You made me do it. I got a whole file.
Wait a second. Look at the space on this – wait, not this rep.
I know which one you're talking about.
The way he closes the space here.
He's killing. He's
right
killing
here.
ULL.
Look at this.
Look at the false step that he took to begin.
But I mean, that's a lot. He's covering a lot of ground there.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm just saying
the screen.
It's a highlight.
Do I have the ability to throw something on the screen?
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Hold on a second.
Okay. Let's find out.
Let me get back to the main screen.
Hold on. We're gonna
put something down here. You can put something down here.
Share some video files, Lair, because I have currently 11 clips.
I hope you don't think I'm claiming he's the greatest. I just no. This guy's athletic and he's got a lot of tackles.
I feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind on this guy. Okay, which one I'm gonna just pick one just for the argument. Do we want Missouri? Now let's do Duggar terrible recognition, missed tackle. That's a winner. Okay, here we go. I don't know if it's loaded or whatever yet. Browser has blocked my screen. Oh, whatever. This is going great. It's down there, Lair, if you want it.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Okay, so he's in the middle here. 3. You can see him right there at Mike sliding over. Totally doesn't read the play. Totally misses. Oh, he's got the closing speed. Can't bring him down. He had 18 missed tackles last year. 18. I can keep going.
Let's say it again.
It's tough. It's ULL. Here we go. So here he is right there. You can see him.
4?
Middle, number 3.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, sorry. That went crazy. Okay. Watch him totally misread this play. Finds where the ball is.
He was flowing the right direction. He was flowing the right direction.
And that's the thing.
He didn't go to the other way or anything. I mean, and at pro level, there's going to be action that goes away from the play.
I mean,
they're better at fooling you in the pros typically. But no, I mean, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is, the guy was at Georgetown. He's between the height, the length, the speed, and the arm length. He actually does cover a lot of ground. And when he sees it, he seems to go. I don't know anything more about him. I got to watch more of him. I'll have to see him this summer. He looks really raw. But I mean, think about it this way. That guy's only role is special teams. And it's easy to picture him being a very good special teamer, right?
He's got a better chance of it than Nick Martin. Yeah. If because at least
that's another guy. Yeah, it's going to be the battle of the guys you don't like. Nick Martin and against this guy for the last spot.
Neither of these guys can do anything when
here's this one. Is this
just totally one? Yeah, this is when he gets Devondre Campbell, if you remember from the Green Bay game. So here he is. So part of it is you look at him and you go, oh, he might need to be an overhang. Nope. Just ran right past him. He's lined up as an overhang Sambacker here.
He lost contain.
I mean,
he's hunting for the sack, looks like.
Didn't just lose contain.
It's not crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's young players, I mean,
I just don't understand how this guy warranted a draft pick. I really don't understand it. If you want to bring him in as a UDFA, that's awesome. I get that.
No, totally.
How you use the pick 154 on this player whose tape is abysmal, legitimately abysmal, this is where it was like, oh, I can't even give you guys the benefit of the doubt anymore. You're just doing the same shit that you've done year after year, which is round 3 comes around and you go, oh, it's all play money.
Told you that somebody was like part-time at something. You don't feel as confident if they're full-time. People are like, oh, the NFL officials should be full-time. They're part-time guys. But basically, when you're using your coaches, I could ask Chris Furster or even Kyle Shanahan or Chris Kasarik about any big-time defensive play, any big-time player at their position. And I could ask them this between like Christmas and New Year's, and they would look at me like, I'm like, who's that? Like, I have no idea who that is. And yet they're going to have a huge impact like 9 weeks later or whatever on adding them to the team, where there's some scout that's been all over it for months. I mean, here's the bottom line. And this is one thing that I think has to be mentioned. For the 49ers in their inefficiency and their mistakes, I just read to you the most damning stat. They're 1 for 12 on day 1 and 2 picks over a 4-year span. And yet that same organization that is 1 for 12 on day 1 and 2 of the draft is unearthing Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant and Azeez Al-Shaair as an undrafted player and had a really good undrafted class this year. And it's like, what? How? It cannot be the same evaluators who are doing those things. They obviously must break up the draft and say, hey, or Kyle tucks tail after a while and says, you know what, do what you want. I don't know. Something's happening there. But there are dramatic inconsistencies, and it's almost like I'm a math teacher, and the first page of questions was done by one student, and the second page of questions was done by another student. The first student couldn't show his work. The second student showed it perfectly. It's almost like that's what I feel like. They're doing brutal. The hard part. They're making the hard part look easy, and they're making the easy part look hard.
Well, the way that I understand it is that day 3 is all about sort of who bangs the table the hardest. And that's some lowest common denominator social media nonsense of just whomever's the loudest is apparently the most right. It's like, that's not, y'all are about consensus and kumbaya and everyone being together. And then it gets to day 3 and it's just like, who wants to make an argument? Who wants their guy? Fight for him. And KJ Wright's I wouldn't want to fight KJ Wright. But he's like, I love this Jaden Duggar kid out of ULL. You know why? Probably because he saw something on Instagram. Like, I'm not to impugn KJ Wright's, career, which was magnificent, but like, how can KJ Wright bang the table, and then you draft this guy? Who did the cross check on this guy? Who did the cross check? because the cross-check is going to be like, this is damningly bad film. But no one did the cross-check. They probably sorted by RAS score, said, oh, he had 125 tackles. And then you watch the highlight clip, and you're like, oh, this guy looks pretty awesome. Watch the full game. You'll find him. You won't like what you see. The tape against Missouri, the best competition he played last year, abysmal. And I don't know the kid at all. I feel actually legitimately awful.
I mean, it's a trait-based pick, and you're going to have to coach him up, and it's going to take some time for sure.
It's going to take some time. Time that could be better spent in other places.
Where were you on Enrique Cruz?
Yeah, he's fine.
Marcel really liked Enrique Cruz.
Yeah.
This is the right tackle from Kansas.
Yeah.
He's got good strength in his hands, and he's really good at movement in space. He had a 35-inch vertical at 315 pounds or something.
Doesn't translate at all.
Long arms, though, 34-inch arms. Interesting player, and extensive experience playing both left and right tackle. They think he's more of a right tackle. Really quick out of his stance. What do you think? Played just 33 snaps at Syracuse in 2024.
Yeah. He's raw. He's raw. He's raw. I think it's a worthy swing. He had really. I'll say this. I would guess
he's going to make the team.
Probably not. But you never know because he's a real fighter. And I mean that like in a pot. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. Like he's a real fighter, and he had outstanding reps against Mizzou. And you'll see Zion Young and Wilson. They couldn't do anything with this guy. And those are two of the best defensive ends in college football last year. I mean, Zion Young turned very good tackles into mincemeat. And he just found a way. It didn't look great all the time. There's a lot of Pooney here. There's a lot of Pooney. He delivers a punch. He's strong in the upper body. Kind of the opposite in a lot of ways of
keeps the legs moving. I like that.
Carver Willis. Yeah, no, Now they did
got a wide base.
Yeah, they rotated him in this game.
He's got some grip strength. You can see he's got some grip strength.
No question, he's got some grip strength. The athleticism doesn't pop off the tape. It comes out every now and again, but like he kind of doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, but he had a great game against Mizzou. There's no question about that.
But he's not lunging, man. He's staying balanced. He's keeping his back square, and he's battling some good players here. I mean, let's be honest. Mizzou, 100%. Come on, these are some of the best players in the country he's going against.
They had three. Yeah, they have. Well, one guy got $2 million to go play for Miami. They had two guys drafted in the top 120.
I think this film looks really good, actually.
It's outstanding. This is the best film he had, though. You watch him against Tech, and it's Texas Tech, and it's raw. They pulled him a little bit, and this was the fun thing they did with Pooney at Kansas. I believe the offensive coordinator at Kansas was there with Pooney. Then I think he went to Penn State, and then he came back to Kansas last year, where they pull their tackles all the way. They do a full trap as a lead block. So they did some of that, and he was really good at it. This was a very worthy late 5th round pick in an offensive tackle class that had its run already. Of all the tackles that went after him, I only had Emil Wagner drafted like with a draftable grade above him. I think Alex Harkey was a good player. I wasn't high on him. Jake was. Demetrius Crownover, I could understand why teams wouldn't want to be in on him. He's just so big. Definitely not a Niners type.
He's a guard, I think. I mean, or a right tackle, but he's just really like he reminds me. He just no lateral agility at all to pick off any athlete in space. There's no way.
I like him, but yeah, it's not the Niners type. That's a gap guy through and through. I thought Cruz. Yeah, that's a totally fine. That's a B pick. That's what that is. That Enrique Cruz is a B pick, and it could work out really wonderfully. I'll say this: it wouldn't shock me at all if he ended up being the left tackle in 2 or 3 years because he has the athleticism, and if they wanted to, they could probably make it happen. He's big. He's got the hands. I'm not saying that he's a Trent type, but like Trent is kind of built the same way, and with that crazy athleticism. So if they wanted to, they could do that, but. I say he might not make the team. It'd be pretty hard to cut him. I think. How about this? Much like we were talking about earlier with Black and forgive me, Halton. If you flipped Willis and Cruz in this, if Cruz was the guy who went before Willis,
right? I think Cruz is better. I
agree.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I like Cruz's film there. I mean, that film right there looked pretty good.
Yeah.
What about undrafted guys? I mean, they got Kamara. Yeah. We mentioned Bryson Eason. I like James Thompson, Khalil Dinkins. What do you think of we mentioned Will Pauling. You didn't say anything about Wesley Grimes. Big time speed. What do you think of him though? I mean, at NC State, he has good height. I mean, it seems like they've got a couple guys there that might be interesting.
I was not a Wesley Grimes fan. He's obviously someone who comes across the radar because he is very fast. And so you say it just didn't feel like he knew what he was doing out there. I'm fascinated to see what he looks like in shorts next weekend. Not this upcoming, 2 weekends from now. Like, I'm really interested. I wasn't a fan. I didn't have a draftable grade on him.
How about Boomeister, the punter? Is he going to beat out the veteran punter? Because I
think he's going to have a good shot to do it.
Yeah, I've heard that the veteran punter is Corliss Waitman. That he might just be kind of a placeholder until they found somebody in the draft.
Yep, that is what I mean. It's not like he can't get the job, but he is definitely not the guy for the job. So they could go that route. It wouldn't be a shock if over the summer they played the marketplace a little bit too, and punters get cut and stuff all the time. If they take the second best punter on some team, wouldn't shock me at all. We'll see on that one. The punter is going to actually be a real issue. Punt returner is going to be an issue. Kick returner is going to be an issue. Brant Boyer is actually going to get his money's worth this year. Last year, he kind of inherited a good situation, got to hand pick all of his guys. Now he's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out with some guys that he didn't hand pick, and we're going to find out if he can do it or not. I'm fascinated to see.
What do the Niners do out of the draft? Today was an interesting day. Why? Because today is the big first date that you can sign free agents where they're not subjected to the compensation formula, the compensatory pick formula. The Niners have mastered this better than any team in the league. Niners have had 25 compensatory selections, far more than anybody else. Some teams have none. They have had 25, and they know what they're doing. And basically, this is a great time of year to sign a free agent. The Niners did do some restructuring to add some money. They have a lot of cap room.
Yeah.
Do they need a left guard? Would they go with Joe Bitonio? Do they, Matt Miyoko came out today and said that he still doesn't think they're going to go for Joey Bosa.
No.
David Njoku's out there at tight end. There might be some other veteran tight ends that shake free. There's talk about a veteran safety possibly brought in. Is it what's left to do? Is there anybody out there that and then the other thing that I saw today was that there was a rumor that the Niners are one of the favored teams in the poly market to trade for Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, I don't think Kayvon Thibodeau is getting traded because I think Reese is just going to end up being their will linebacker, and they're going to just blitz him from any which way. So I think that's
Abdul Carter, Brian Burns. They got other guys.
I think that they are keen to rotate because clearly, if they wanted to trade Kayvon Thibodeau, he would have been traded already. I don't think anyone's interested in giving up what they want to get for him, and I don't think they're going to trade him for anything that they deem to be lesser than. Bitonio, Zeitler, Alex Kappa, Dylan Parham. I'd be content with any of those guys at left guard.
Parham, I think, is a real underrated player. Why is he available?
Beats me. I don't know. Some of this stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
How about this? John Fitzpatrick, the tight end. He was a blocking tight end for Green Bay. Would be a really nice pickup for the Niners at this point in free agency. I don't think Jonnu Smith fits what they're doing. I think they can wait on that. Darren Waller, they can probably wait on as well to see if George Kittle is going to return or not. And then, hey, it's June, it's July, it's not looking so great. Here comes Darren Waller. Njoku would be interesting. I don't think he's interested. I don't think they've reached out, but I think that he thinks that he can still be kind of the guy somewhere. Zach Ertz, I don't think is playing in the NFL this upcoming season. Safety. I have no earthly idea what they're going to do at safety. I will say Xavier Woods, Chuck Clark, Jordan Poyer, Mike Edwards, they're there. They could bring that guy in. Man, I got some questions. On safety. But, the funny thing is going into this draft, I was adamant that they didn't have to do anything. They could have done full Minnesota Vikings and just let all their picks go
and they would still have a playoff caliber roster with the question of like third down back, third down pass rusher. Like those would still be questions, but you can fill those later in free agency. They filled a couple of those spots. Now the question is, are they willing to augment even further? And ironically, the places that I think that they could probably do the most with, running back, wide receiver, are the places that they probably need to do the least with right now. They address those, maybe not to everyone's desire, but they address those aggressively. They have a lot of people there. So tight end is the place that is most lacking. And I don't really love any of these options, or it's a guy like Njoku or even Waller who they're like, well, am I the guy or not? Like, I'm not coming in to be a bit player here. Like, I'm a $10 million a year player. So fascinated to see. But, they got some good guards on the market. I'm interested to see if they bring any of them in.
They're working out a bunch of guys at the mini camp. North Texas tight end Trey Williams. Interested to see what he looks like. Louisville linebacker Khalib Perry. Pitt wide receiver Deuce Spann. No. Washington State defensive back Colby Humphrey.
No.
Missouri center Connor Tollison. What do you think of Tollison?
I thought Tollison was draftable. He's classic Mizzou center. I don't know how to put that differently. Like, he's just going to be around for a long time. Undersized, smarts, angles, really good pop out of his stance, really good hand usage. This issue is going to be the same issue that every 49er center has. Can they handle the bull rush? Can they handle the nose guards? He's really, really sharp. He knows how to manage an offensive line. I comped him to Brian Allen, who really did some nice work for the Rams back in the day. Good pickup for the Niners to bring him in. Connor Tollison makes a lot of sense. And if I'm the Nuge, I'm a little bit concerned because they seem to have plenty of good options above him. And I think Connor Tollison might be a better option than him moving down the line. But he's center only, to be fair, which is going to be a real issue for him, frankly.
On this tryout list, the one guy that I really do like is the Syracuse kid who started at LSU, Deuce Chestnut. Mm-hmm. What do you guys have on Chestnut? I'm going to put the Chestnut on the screen here. This kid's a tough kid. This kid's from Camden, New Jersey. I saw a couple interviews that he did. He's smart. He's tough. And he's like one of those guys that he's a corner, right? He's a corner. He's a 5'10" player, but yeah. But he definitely has some thump. He's a tough guy, and he said that I saw an interview where he's like, I can play any position. I can play the nickel. I can play the corner. I can play the boundary. I can play safety. I'm tough. But I like this kid's swagger, and I like his athleticism, and I think he's got a little bit more tackling power than you would think. I know he's not tall, but I kind of like him as a safety prospect in a passing league. I like a physical corner who's really a corner and has great corner instincts, but at safety, that's what I like at safety. And look at this guy. Look at his ability to cover here. They do. It's like immediately I think people are like, fire the whole regime.
Well, they say that anyway.
Yeah, well, it's the NFL. I mean, it's the Niner fans. Niner fans go crazy. But I know what's the bottom line on this thing. And I brought this up tonight on CamBR. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, is the bottom line winning Super Bowls? If that's the bottom line, well, they haven't done it yet, right? If the bottom line is winning seasons, I think they've had 3 in the last 4 years and 4 in the last 5 or 6 years. And if it's about, or is it about drafting efficiency? And then I asked the question, are the Niners good because of or in spite of their drafting? I probably think it's in spite of.
Totally.
But then the question is, what do you do about it? John picked Kyle. Kyle's very valuable. Kyle's handpicked GM's Lynch. I mean, I would think it's got to be kind of making their relationship a little tough because they're not getting this thing done. And how do you not blame each other after some point? Hey, and it's always, and in every football situation, it's like the debate is, hey man, did I get you good enough players, or are you doing enough with the players I got you? So there's that inherent thing going on between the GM and the coach, which makes some of the relationships kind of frosty. These guys are close. They claim it's an asset, but it may be a liability at this juncture because I feel like the Niners don't need to fire anybody, but what they do need to do is redo their structure and tell Kyle, let's just coach and tell John, let's just be the prez. And these are big jobs. And then let's find the Elliott Wolf, who's a lifetime, I'm not saying Elliott Wolf, but I'm just saying let's find whoever the guy is, Brad Holmes, who's just a proven drafter, and just do that. Or is that too insulting to John because he's a football guy through and through, and now he'd be more of a business guy? I mean, I don't want to insult John. I think John could be the commissioner of the league. I also think that he's one of the best faces of the franchise the Niners have ever had. He's valuable on such a high level, but they need to have a better hit rate in the draft, and 1 for 12 in that 4-year span is killing them.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal, and it's not going to be this thing where it's just in your it's an insidious thing to where just slowly but surely you've seen the foundation get washed away, and then there's a big storm, and then suddenly you realize, shit, the house the house is 2 miles that way. The storm took it, and that's when everyone gets fired. That's when it all goes to hell. But they are good enough coaches.
What should they do? What should Jed do anything, or should he just leave it alone and just hope they get better?
I mean, I'm of the mindset that you need to codify the unofficial dichotomy of power that they have. So Kyle had final say on everything roster-wise because that was what he negotiated when he showed up. I need 6 years and full control of the roster. And that's the only way Jed could get him because it was a tire fire before Kyle showed up. And he handpicks John. John doesn't have any experience in this, so John is there just to make phone calls and glad hand and do all the things that Kyle is not good at and doesn't want to do. So that's changed, though, because John has now done this job for 10 years. And, it ain't that hard of a job where you can't learn it deep over the course of 10 years. John's very good at recognizing talent in front offices. They have not done a good enough job in recent years in rebuilding their scouting department and such, but they've had a lot of talent poached from that level just below John. So he inherited some of them. He picked some of them. It was impressive. And they brought a lot of those guys back because they failed. But I would just make sure that John has the hammer and that Kyle can't come in and pull rank unless John signs off on it. And I think that John's idea of, consensus and kumbaya is lovely and probably very effective for 362 days out of the year. But the 3 days of the NFL draft, you need to have a wartime consigliere. You need to have somebody where the buck stops and he makes the call. And he's not looking to make people feel happy or, hunky-dory or whatever. He's looking to maximize the value. He's looking to bring in the best players. And I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but y'all going to have to deal with it because this is what's best for the team. But right now, they're trying to do what's best for the coaching staff and what's best for everyone getting along in the building. And they feel a little bit afraid of internal conflict. And internal conflict is not great. I'm not arguing that you're looking for it, but sometimes you got to have it because you know who the boss is. Sometimes you got to put your foot down and say that this is how we're going to run things. And I just don't think that if you look at the best GMs in football, if you look at a Howie Roseman, if you look at a Brett Veach in Kansas City and Philadelphia, respectively, that they're all really concerned about how their scouts view them that day when the draft picks getting made, or if their coaching staff is going to love them or not. Because I can tell you this firsthand. Andy Reid has as much say as any coach in the NFL when it comes to personnel, right? He wanted an offensive lineman in the first round of this draft in the worst kind of way. What did the Kansas City Chiefs do? They traded up and got a cornerback. Do you think that Andy Reid, I'm sure, was happy about getting Mansour Delane? You know what he really wanted? A fucking offensive lineman. And he wanted to trade up to get one. And I knew the trade that they were going to make under the belief that Andy was going to go up and get his guy at 3, which was Maui Noah. That didn't happen. So is that Brett Veach getting consensus from everybody, or Brett Veach making a damn call? Howie Roseman ain't worried about if Nick Sirianni likes the pick or not. Figure it out. You're the coach. And it doesn't have to be that confrontational, but at some point, Kyle doesn't get to have say over the roster because Kyle plays the politics game and has really wants to make sure that his guys, that they feel loved and appreciated and all this stuff. He'll go for toys as opposed to things that might move the team forward. As we've seen with this offensive line, they consistently repeat the same thing. They're afraid to adapt to the new thing. How are they going to run 13 personnel next year? I'm not saying they have to. I'm just saying they can't because they don't have 3 tight ends you can put on the field at the same time.
Well, I mean, Darren Waller's out there.
I mean,
should they go after a big-time tight end?
Well, he's not a big-time tight end. He's a tight end, but he's not big-time. There's no big-time tight ends left.
I thought the tight end group was pretty good right now.
It's
Njoku.
It's better than you thought it would be.
$13 million.
Time. Yeah, I mean, well, why is he still available? And same thing with Juwan Jennings. Like, is Juwan Jennings a good player? Absolutely, but he's still available. You know,
that's weird,
right? Like Deebo Samuel, very good player. Even last year, he had some moments. Why is he still available? Because people aren't going to invest in him because he's not the same guy. Same thing with Njoku. Same thing with Ertz is just old. Jonnu Smith, I can't block. Well, what the hell are you going to do for me in 13 personnel then? You're just a glorified wide receiver. I'll just go get one in the draft cheaper. John Fitzpatrick can at least block. Can't do much else for you, but he can at least block. Darren Waller didn't play for 2 fucking years. Like he was floating out there for anybody. And yes,
I don't even know if he wants to play now.
Right. Mike McDaniel was able to get something out of him, but here's the thing. Mike McDaniel's really, really good at this. I know that people don't want to believe it, but he's really, really good at this. And I just think that the Niners need to have a clear delineation of power so that John and Kyle don't have to do this who's actually in charge thing anymore, because it burned them with Brandon Ayuk and it burns them 3 days every year during the draft, because the first and second picks, it's all about kumbaya. There's a lot of options. Day 3 comes around and the bullets are flying fast, and it's like, who's banging the table hardest? What does John want? What does Kyle want? And it's haphazard. And if you ever needed an example of how haphazard it is on draft days for the 49ers, look at how Jed tweeted through it 2 years ago and how it was just Salah's just sort of swinging from the hip. It's not the way you should run it. That's not how a powerful GM would run their situation. That's not how someone who everyone knew was actually in charge would be running their show. But that's the way the Niners do it, and it's going to burn them in the long run.
We'll finish on this front. Actually, what am I saying? I'm finished. We're going to hit my supers here. Then we'll finish. Sorry to the people who we haven't gotten to your supers, but here we go. We're going rapid fire on the supers.
Sure.
Doc Holliday. ESPN trashed the Niners Stribbling pick, but Brooks and Cosell pushed back. AFC South teams had him rising into round 2. If you like a player, you take him. Cosell and Stribbling has first round talent ahead of Mekhi Lemon. I saw that. He said was some NFL person said to him that they'd rather have Stribbling than Lemon because Stribbling's faster than Lemon. Stribbling runs 4.36. They care about.
He can play
speed.
3 spots too.
Right.
Lemon can only play the inside. Listen, Stribbling's going to be a good player.
Lemon has no length either, really.
Stribbling's a good player. He also could just be here's the thing. He was a late riser. So his tape wasn't doing it exclusively, but you get him in the building and everyone loved him. This is the problem with having coaches too involved in your draft process, because coaches can get suckered in by teachers' pets. And maybe Stribbling's just a really good teacher's pet. It's something you got to keep an eye on.
That is a great point. Reshad Shiraz says, Weewoo, Besantis, Pregnon, passed on them all.
Yep. And you know what? All 3 of those guys, you can make the argument for passing on them, with Besantis being the most difficult one to do so.
Yeah,
but
they all had movement. The Niners want. Come on. We talk about this every year. I like offensive linemen that are powerful. They like offensive linemen that are mobile. I think they're going to have a hard time blocking Seattle with their mobile offensive line. We'll find out. Harry Johnson said, did Stribbling and Jordan Watkins play together at Ole Miss?
No,
they did not.
Stribling was at Oklahoma State in 2024.
Right. And it was totally used differently, by the way. At Ole Miss, they used him on the sideline. At Oak State, they used him in the middle of the field. But I'll say this, the people who only watch the Ole Miss film are like, he can only work the sideline. I think he's got more variety to his game.
Yeah.
Brad Jones says, but Dieter, was this the draft you were getting foundational pieces unless you were in the top 10? That's the other thing. It's like, what did we?
It's a bad draft.
What did we expect to get out of this draft? that was a bad draft where you already got Odigizua in the 3rd round with your 3rd round pick. You take that away, and it's a bad draft. And what did you expect? I mean, not you, but what did people expect the Niners to wind up with 20 new players? I mean, I think when it's all said and done, they're going to wind up with a pretty good haul out of this draft class. That'd be my guess. I agree with you though. There's a lot of like, it would be like that commercial from Wendy's in the 80s. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Yeah, it's listen, I like a lot of the players that they got. I think that there's a lot of positives that you can glean from it. I just still hate their process. And
I do too.
And it's damning when multiple times you could be like, oh, if you just flip these 2 picks, it looks better. Or if you just say undrafted free agents instead of the day 3 guys, it looks better. Okay, well, what if you were to put it all together to where all of those things were good? Because clearly you have some ability. Clearly you're good at some of this. So why is it that you're not good at it all the time? Why is it that you don't seem to have any vision or rhyme or reason? I mean, say what you will about, and I told you about this, Ty Simpson to the Rams at 13. I thought Arizona was going to jump up above them to get him, but like they really see it. And all you heard from Les Snead was vision. It's all about the vision. It's all about the vision. Now that's bullshit, probably, but at least they're trying something. What's the vision here for the 49ers? What is the connective tissue that ties all these picks together? Nothing. There's nothing. There's no thesis with these picks. This is all just spray. They're just spraying and hope they hit one, which, by the way, every now and again they do.
It feels like a bad NBA team that just comes down and they have no offense. They just take turns shooting. Harry Johnson says, if this draft class was last year's, I'd be pissed. Last year we needed to hit because we had legit big holes. This year we are just adding to the foundation.
What foundation?
That's delusional.
This is my thing.
I hate to say it, Terry, but that's delusional.
What foundation do they have?
They need to build a foundation. Name me their long list of sub 26-year-old great players. Thank you.
None.
You may step down. Rashad, still surprised we didn't take a safety. Siegel, Brown, Mustafa all had issues. Who starts between Siegel and Brown? Can Prysock play safety?
It wouldn't shock me if Prysock got thrown at safety because it didn't work out at corner. But I was under
Deuce Chestnut.
I was under the impression, Jacob Robinson. I was under the impression that they were going to wait and see with safety with Raheem because that's a tough position. You don't want to just run into it and see. I think he's going to wait and see on those guys. And that could work out great. It could work out horribly.
I could see them trading for somebody this summer. Noam says, good morning from TLV.
That's Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv.
Yep.
For all of the Black is a rich.
For everyone saying Black is too rich, Seattle took a running back at 32.
Oh, I got you. Greg Cosell on KMBR said he would have been his 3rd running back. I don't think it was on KMBR, but I hear you.
I disagree. Yeah, for Black to be his 3rd running back, that's not ridiculous, but there was a huge gap between Price and Black. It's not as if it's like, oh, well, Price went, now Black can go. Okay, like first off, Black at 3rd.
He did say he was the top 3 running back in his class.
There's about 6 rounds of difference there.
Yeah,
like that's.
It was a reach, but I'll tell you, the kid can play, and everybody loves him, including Greg.
After Price went, I texted somebody in an NFL draft room, and I said, "Are we going to see anyone get taken until like the 5th round?" And they're like, "No, like we're not going to see another running back taken for 4 rounds."
I thought Mike Washington might be that guy. Brian B 3025 says $1.99.
Says nothing.
Kid Trickster says Stribbling reminds me of Puka, who wasn't a good route runner out of BYU. Strong with good hands, though. See, if he's as strong as Puka, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, Puka's a different beast.
I don't think he's nearly as strong as Puka.
I think, again, I want to be very clear. I think Stribbling is going to be very good. I think he has the chance to be really good.
Yeah. Doc Holliday, Larry, you don't know where any of these players were getting picked. Example, Stribbling in the 2nd. AFC teams had him marked. The consensus said 5th. The consensus
I can tell you.
The consensus of nothing. I mean, what is the consensus of what? Bleacher Report and what? Matt Miller. I mean, these guys had a variance of about 2.5 rounds on many of the day 3 picks. So
yeah,
some guys. By the way, guys in the 4th round. The other guys didn't have drafted.
Full stop. He wasn't getting to 58, and he probably wasn't getting to 40. Now, this whole AFC teams had him marked. One, who the fuck is saying that? And two, what the hell does that mean? AFC teams, what, did they all get together and be like, we should mark some people for the power of the American Football Conference? What the hell does that mean? I can tell you the Rams liked him. How about that?
Yeah. The Eagles liked him too, supposedly. Alexander McDonald says, I like the Stribbling pick. But in the receiver room this year, if Kyle schemed open Debo and JJ slow, maybe then when Brock is running for his life this year against Seattle, someone will be open. Yeah. I mean, they have to create separation. Why do you think they added 3 receivers this weekend that all run in the 4-3s? Because Kyle knows his receiving core is fucking slow. I mean, I say, if I say it, I'm ripping his receiving core. If he says it, he's analyzing it. Brian, do you think the Niners wanted Jadarian Price? Yes, I do. Maybe the Niners felt limited with running back and took Black to fulfill a need in a limited class. Possibly. I'll say this. I was in the KMBR draft coverage when Kyle and John walked into the conference room, and they had 2 eyes on the screen and were very unhappy when Seattle took Jadarian Price. Now, I think JD might have said to Lynch, hey, what do you think of Price? And he said John said a little early. But I think what he meant was, he went a little earlier than we thought he was going to go, but they absolutely liked him. They needed a return guy. They wanted a second back. They thought they could get a guy who could catch the ball. He's very much like Christian. He would have given them a dynamic kick returner, explosives. I mean, they wanted explosives and another back, and Jadarian Price represents explosives and another back. So absolutely they wanted him.
Yep.
I don't know where they would have taken him, but they absolutely wanted him.
I think he would have been in the conversation at 33 if Stribbling wasn't still there.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Mars says, hey, Larry and Dieter, did you think Grant's question to Lynch was a fair assessment of the Niners draft choices?
I think it was KFAB grandstanding on both sides.
I thought it's a question that is a fair question of, the topic matter was a fair question.
Sure. We've been talking about it for 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, the topic matter has been a fair question for sure. And as far as the rest of it and how people reacted to it, because Grant asked it, of course, there he gets.
Yeah. If Eric Branch asks that question,
right,
it doesn't have the same response, but because it's Grant asking it, now it becomes this whole other thing, which is both self-inflicted and unfortunate.
It's combative. Also, it's a combative situation. Yeah. Mars, hey, Larry and Dieter, do you think? We got that one.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Thank you.
There was 14 more of those exact questions. You see, and this is the issue. It doesn't matter what the question was. We're talking about Grant.
Right, there you go. Brad Jones.
That's the real story.
Could some of these guys also be solid special teamers?
Sure, we went through them. Yeah,
not Stribbling, but yeah. Brian B.
Stribbling actually could be an awesome special teamer. They just won't use him that way.
I don't think so. Brian B. says $1.99. Michael says 49ers will face Walter Nolan on one side of the ball and Basantis on the other side of the ball twice a year. Players they passed on in back-to-back years. Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, that is how the NFL works. You oftentimes play players that you passed on. I will say this. I'm still buying all your Michael Williams stock. Just please let me have it all. I will buy you out at whatever price you have.
When's he going to be healthy? Is he going to be ready week 1 or when's he?
I think he'll be there on the back end of training camp.
He's good against the run. It's just a matter of he's an interior rusher and not an edge rusher, and they need an edge rusher. But maybe with Romelo Height, maybe he's ideal with Romelo Height. We'll see.
This is perfect. They're going to go Height, Odigizua at 1, Michael at 3. Bosa at 5'7". That on third down, good fucking luck. That is dynamic coming at you.
Should be fun. Should be fun. Brian says here's $1.99. We got
Brian's just tossing out these $1.99.
Brian's just Porterhouse 11 says, "What's our record this year, Larry and Dieter?"
I haven't seen how the schedule's broken down. I would guess
and that's a big part of it. That's a big part.
I would guess 9 or 10 wins.
Yeah, I'll say 10. I'll say 10 and 7, right? 10 and 7.
Yeah, 9 and 8. I think I had him at 9 and 8 last year. I'll swing back around.
Titus Moeller. What's up, Titus? He says, Dieter, can you share your analysis with John and ask him what he was thinking? Or would San Francisco rescind your press pass? I'd like to hear their defense of picks.
What's my analysis of John? Like, this is the other thing, too. Like, this speaking truth to power.
No,
thing.
not of John, with John. Can you share your analysis?
John's not interested in my analysis. Full stop. He's not interested in my analysis. There are people in the building who are, but he's not. And like the idea of like, your press pass would be revoked. Good luck with that. Have fun with that one. Y'all can't handle a little criticism. Have fun with that. Like, that's not going to go well for them. That's fine.
They're not going.
They're not going to, and that's fine. Listen, this is big boy professional football. This is not pro wrestling, soap opera, drama bullshit. There are, we all have these characters online that everyone's playing. I'm not playing a character. I'm this big of an asshole all the time. But there is a level of decorum and professionalism that can be done. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't recognize, because you don't hear the questions that are asked because they're not tossing around the microphone for good reason. There's a way to ask the question without making it about you, the person asking the question. That's journalism. Maybe we should be all doing that.
I'll say this. I blame that situation on a lack of proper coverage. I mean, as far as if you're not going to give us opportunities to ask questions, and you're going to funnel every part of the media into a televised presser that's on the NFL Network.
Yep.
Then if that's the only place where you can ask the question, then you have to ask the question in
Correct.
the only availability you give. If they gave some availability where you could say, hey, you know what? I have this question. And maybe it's away from the bright lights and the network cameras and all that. But instead, no. So, you know what? Maybe next time there will be more, more variety of places. So then you can get your question in and you don't have to necessarily embarrass anybody on television. I don't think Grant was out there to embarrass anybody.
Not in the least bit.
I think he wanted to ask that question, and it was the only avenue for him to ask it. It was the only area for him to ask it. I would love to me, that question is a totally fair question.
Agreed.
Around the complex. If you saw John, if I just saw John walking through, I say, John, can I ask you a question? Yeah. What's up, Krug? Hey, you know what? Your guys' board is quite a bit different than the boards. I notice you guys takes these wild swings.
Yeah.
And you could sit and you could have this question, and you could even be
you could have a normal adult conversation about this.
You could almost be like, is that in your guys' best interest? Seems like you guys have missed on some of those. Now, he might not like that, but it's away from the cameras, and you're having a discussion, and it's a fair discussion because it's fact. But when they only give you the opportunity with, the cameras rolling in an auditorium, then it's like, you know what? Sorry that I'm asking it in this forum, but in that forum, it comes across as hostile.
Well, there's also this, is that it is an unfair environment. And I am not in any way trying to take their sides. It is an unfair environment for John and Kyle to be in, because Grant, myself, you, whomever, can phrase questions and bring them in such a tone to where it's like, you're an idiot, right? Like, you're an idiot. And that was unquestionable, even if that wasn't Grant's intent, because Grant is an antagonist, and I am done talking about him. Because in the same way that when I ask questions, they're like, oh, fucking, too smart for his own good is here. Let's play it this way. Because there's context, because there's an understanding of the person asking the question, and sometimes that overrides the question itself, that can come across as antagonistic, to say the least. The flip side is John and Kyle cannot go and say, you don't know shit. You don't know a goddamn thing. Because of then you get into a whole back and forth. Then it's like, well, what's your track record of knowing? Like, I'll take my, this and that. Then it becomes a dick measuring contest. So you can't do that. So they're in an unfair situation to where they cannot respond in kind, sometimes to tones that are very much, you're an idiot, right? And these gotcha sort of questions. Because here's the reason that no one else is asking that question. We knew the answer. And you don't waste time asking questions you know the answer to unless you're trying to get a response for YouTube or some clips. That's the difference. Why is John and Kyle's board different than everybody else? Because they don't look at everybody else's board. They don't have a consensus thing, and they think that everybody else is an idiot and that they only care about what they think. We've known this for 10 years. They've shown it in their actions. They've said it in their words. They don't care about consensus outside of the building, and I think that was their exact quote. So why are you asking the question? If you know the answer, why are you asking the question? If only to get it clipped up. And that is a real issue that we have in this, because that's honestly more effective than any other question that anyone asks.
To Grant's defense, I'm sure he could argue he's doing it to enact change, right?
That's not his job.
No, I know. But I mean, if you're, I'm just thinking of a motivation of why you would ask the question. You asked that question. Why would you to maybe enact change? If you really, or to speed up change because you feel like you're not having success. They're not having enough success. I mean,
a journalist's job is not to be an advocate. And if you're an advocate,
but then we're not sure. I mean, are we journalists? I mean, you're a journalist.
I don't know what
I'm not,
I don't know
I'm
what
not
the credentials. Well, I know I am, and it's
I don't consider myself a journalist.
Yeah,
I don't write in a journal.
Well, that's not really what that means, Lair. But
I'm not a writer.
By the way,
I'm not a beat writer.
Let's be clear about this.
I'm not saying there's not journalistic integrity to some of the things we do. I'm just saying I'm an editorialist, and there's a significant difference.
Same. I editorialize, but I'm not asking questions I know the answer to. I'm not wasting people's time doing that so that I can get something to clip up. And again, I am to be very clear, I don't think that's what Grant was doing. But if he's trying to enact some, it doesn't matter. That's his thing, and it worked. It worked wonderfully. Everyone got what they wanted out of that situation. The whole thing came across me as they got their lick in. They let Grant know that they didn't like the question, and it just came across to be very WWE.
Sharp article then,
right? Oh well, yeah, we all know Warren Sharp. Don't even start me on him. So it's a whole thing about what are we actually doing here? Are we trying to get answers, or are we trying to get clips? Are we trying to Are we trying to get somewhere? Are we trying to figure out something we don't know? Or are we trying to get attention? And frankly, if it's all the latter, great job. Everyone's doing a bang-up operation. But you're wasting everybody. You're wasting time people trying to actually figure this thing out. If you're all looking to just get John and Kyle fired, don't worry. They'll do it on their own. I'm not sure. There's nothing you can do to help them get fired or not. Nothing. They'll do it on their own, and they might be right on the path of doing it, because if they don't start winning some games, because they don't got a fucking foundation anymore, as soon as their little bitty quarterback goes down, they're going to have a problem. But now I'm rambling.
Yeah, it's not about what you say. It's about what you do. Brad Jones says if punter is a real issue, just bring back Morstead.
I don't think that they loved Morstead last year, which is weird.
Yeah, and
I liked him enough.
Yeah, he seemed like a decent guy.
As a punter, I think Thomas Morstead's an outstanding man. But
Blood Moon says Atlanta. Did I tell you that Morstead almost walked away in Philadelphia and got on the plane with my microphone still clipped to him? I gave him a wire.
Oh, nice.
I gave him the lavalier mic. I did an interview with him. I got back up. I'm like, where the heck is the mic? I'm like, it's on Morstead. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I see him and he's like, hey,
Kruger's a fucking idiot, right?
He's like, his kids are there and everything. It's like, hey man, here's the mic. Blood Moon says Atlanta has tagged KP and can be traded for. Get him.
No, Pitts is not going anywhere.
Kyle Pitts, yeah. They've talked about tagging and trading him. That would be an amazing Kyle Pitts. I saw it last week that there was It was out that they actually, now I don't know if it was legit, but I did see a report last week that they now actually are going to consider trading him. I don't know. I mean, I saw that too. I did see that. I don't know if it's true, but I did see it. We got this one from Titus Muller. Is there a real chance San Francisco could pick up Chuck Clark? I covered him in high school a little at VT, Virginia Tech. I think he's pretty good. What do you guys think? I mean, he's been in the league a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, they would have pulled him last year. Also,
he's been out there a while too.
Is he not on the Lions? Did the Lions not get him last month?
Oh, okay. No, I thought he would. Last I checked, he was still available, but this was
no. They the Lions signed him last month.
Oh, okay, so he's out of there. Niner Gold. Are we ever going to draft Kittle's competition? Didn't do in the past 10 years deliberately. Yeah. I mean,
they've tried to draft.
Tight ends, they're just awful at it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, but I do like this kid, Dinkins, as a blocker. Doc Holliday says Bucky Brooks said it Dieter today on KMBR.
What did he say?
Well, the comment was made at 11:23. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know. AFC teams were circling Stribbling. By the way, I'm telling you straight up that they had to take him at 33. There was barely any chance of moving down. And I don't know if they had a good offer. Like, I don't have a problem with them taking Stribbling. I just don't understand the concept of like AFC teams circled him. What does that mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, what they work in concert
again. Like the AFC teams got together at a dinner and they're like, okay, how do we take it to the NFC this year?
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd. G-Code Travels Log POV. Who gives you a hard time drafting, Lynch or Balky? Who gives you a hard time drafting, Lynch or Balky?
Probably.
Not sure what he means by that.
I think that
who's better?
Actually, yeah, that's a good question. I don't even know.
Balky is a disaster. He drafted Marcus Lattimore after he had a catastrophic injury at running back. I mean, it's like, dude,
everyone knew he had a catastrophic injury. Right. It's like one of the most famous things.
What are you waiting for people to get hit by buses and then trying to sign them? I mean, it's just unbelievably ridiculous. And Balky drafted so many hurt players, but he did take DeForest Buckner, and John did take Solomon Thomas. If you're going D tackles in the top 10.
Now we're cooking, baby.
So you got to remember that. Ian Sharp says 2 international games is just wrong.
It was always coming back at him.
I agree. Harry, that's how you avoid Hard Knocks. Harry Johnson, are we better right now than we were a year ago? I think so. I think they are better.
Unquestionably after free agency.
Yeah. Harry Johnson, Larry is a radio scoundrel, not a journalist.
You're right. I should have never. Scoundrel. There you go.
I don't know if I'm a scoundrel. I think Vrabel would be a scoundrel. I think I'm more like, as I said, I'm an electronic editorialist.
There you go. What does it matter that I have the editorialist page?
Chris M. of the 16 signed, who really has a shot at playing? The 16 signed. What are the 16?
I guess this would be the undrafted free agents and the draft picks.
Oh, the best shot at playing? Romelo Height's going to play. I don't think there's any question about that.
Height's going to be their third down go guy.
Yeah, we'll finish with that. Well, I'll ask Dieter who his favorite guy is at the very end. And then we got this one. Dieter, you are not privy to the Niners' vision. You are not in the draft room. John Lynch and Kyle have made us contenders. Where were we before Kyle?
No, they were. As I said earlier, it was a tire fire before Kyle.
Rez Thug says, Larry, why do you think the media is so soft and unwilling to ask John Lynch and Shanahan tough questions? People don't like confrontation. Most people fear it, and they don't want to. They'd rather just sit there and a lot of people have no passion for what they do, and they might as well be covering, tiddlywinks. I mean, or I mean, if anything, sometimes having passion for what you do can get in the way of things. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of going through the motions. There's a lot of people that don't give a shit. There's a lot of people that are just doing it for kicks, or it's their life. They enjoy the lifestyle. Stefan Niners says, I completely disagree. There's nothing we can do to help get John fired. Happy fans make the owners money. Ownership wants fans to be happy.
Stop going to games then.
Yeah. Boycott. You're going to boycott. All right. Last question on the way out the door. Give me 2 names that you like. Give me 2 teams drafts that you liked on the way out the door.
I like the Colts and the Texans draft. Colts in particular, I thought that they nailed it early on. C.J. Allen, A.J. Halsey, Jalen Farmer, Bryce Butcher. After that, I got a little loose, but Deion Burks and Seth McGowan in the with 237 and 254 is good value there. I really liked the Titans' first 3 picks a lot. Carnell Tate, I had as my number 3 player. He goes number 4. I had Kedrick Falk as my number 10 player. He goes 31. I had Anthony Hill at 23. He goes 60. There you go. There's the draft. You don't even need to do anything else. By the way, Nick Singleton's a really nice pickup for them at 165 as just somebody who could, probably not, but could
end up being a true running back one. And then they bring in Pat Coogan, who I was higher on than most, and they signed Emil Wagner as an undrafted free agent. So yeah, I really like the Titans draft a lot, and their whole sort of two head coaches at the same time thing they got going on with Dable and Saleh might just work out. Maybe not. I don't know. I'd been high on the Titans and their roster for years. And they were just absolutely sabotaged by a garbage head coach. Now they got Bob, who I'm kind of completely out on after last year and some of the stuff that he was doing, but I still like that roster, and I think they got a lot better. As for the two guys that I like with the Niners, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I think it's got to be Romelo Height, and it's got to be Grayson Halton. Those are the two best picks that they made. And they're both guys that I can see making an immediate impact on that defensive line. But I'm a fan of Stribbling. I'm a fan of Black. I'm even a fan of Enrique Cruz Jr., and I think they did a great job with their undrafted free agent crop. Even if, there's always one or two guys that you're like, oh, I don't know about that one, but it's undrafted free agents. You can't be too picky. On the flip side, I think the Duggar pick was just indefensible, and Carver Willis was overdrafted even more so than Kalon Black. So some good, some bad. I gave it a C overall.
My favorite drafts, I'm a big fan of Brad Holmes. I just think that Brad Holmes and
they know what they're about. You want to talk about vision.
And he's just a really solid drafter. He keeps getting good college football players. Blake Miller, very good college football player. They needed a real solid player. They got one. Then they went two Michigan players that are really good. Derek Moore's a good edge rusher. Jimmy Rolder had a 1-year bust out this year, but he showed he's got range and he's smart. He can play, and he's all over the place making tackles. Yeah. Abney, I already told you I'm a big fan of him. I really like Kendrick Law, the wide receiver from Kentucky.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Skylar Gill Howard from Texas Tech is one
I cannot believe
playing defensive lineman in the entire country. To me, I was hoping that he would slip through the cracks and the Niners would get him. And Skylar Gill Howard plays so hard, and he's got so much talent. He's a little sawed off and short, but I love him. And then
he was my 81st ranked player, Larry. 81st. He went 205.
Oh, yeah, I love him. I mean, the motor is off the charts. And the vision, he also has great vision. He sees the ball carrier. He brings the guy down. I mean, he's got one gap penetrating ability to hunt the quarterback. I mean,
he would have been a great Niner.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good. And then Tyree West from Tennessee. I mean, I think that is a great 7th-round pick. He's a 290-pound base end who's got some ability in the sub packages in this new world where everybody's a rusher to put him inside as defensive tackle and let him rush.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be very valuable for them.
They did a good job with like a Roy Lopez before and somewhat of the same role.
Yeah. And Lopez is limited compared to West. Yeah. So I love them. And then the other one for me, and to me, I think this team is the kind of draft that they're going to win the Super Bowl. And that's Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean,
they did awesome.
Reuben Bain at 15. That's a star. Then you go Josiah Trotter in the 2nd round. I think that is kind of like their Derek Brooks. Then you go Ted Hurst, who probably at the end of the day.
Well, they went back to Missouri, by the way. They got Chris McClellan at 77.
No, he went to Green Bay.
Oh, sorry. Jake's got this wrong. My bad.
Yeah. But though they had Ted Hurst from Georgia State. Then they got Keontae Scott and DeMonte Capehart.
Unbelievable.
And then they finished up with the Notre Dame guard who, I don't love him, but you know what? He's supposedly going to be a very solid player. And Bauer Sharp could have been undrafted, but they took him in the 6th round. You could argue
good blocking tight end.
But I mean, he's got pretty good size and strength and speed. I mean, 6'5", 250, pretty good runner. I mean, LSU doesn't recruit these dog meat guys.
No.
So I mean, Tampa Bay, I mean, Jason liked or whatever.
Great call.
That guy's just crazy good.
He's real good. Do you think that he's too worried about making sure that everybody's on the same page on draft day, or to see? By the way, it's not as if they, Keontae Scott, like, what is he going to do? You're going to play him in the slot? You're going to play him at safety? You already have Jacob Parrish, another great player that they took last year out of Kansas State, who's inside, outside. They don't care. You know why? Because they're great players, and they're in the process of getting great players. DeMonte Capehart, how's that going to work with Vita? Who cares? They'll figure it out.
I mean, the thing that drives me bananas when I think about this draft, just like any sequence, I mean, you can always make yourself crazy with, they could have had this guy, they could have had that guy. But Keontae Scott went in the 4th round.
Ridiculous.
And he's just an awesome player. Now
should have been a top 100 pick.
To me, I would have taken Keontae Scott where they took Kalon Black, and took Kalon Black where they took Carver, and then you would have had a much better draft.
Ruben Bain was number 2 on my board. He went 15 to Tampa. Josiah Trotter was 56. He went 46. Okay, that's interesting. Ted Hurst, 53. They got him at 84. Keontae Scott, he was 52 on my board. He went 116. DeMonte Capehart, 42 on my board. He went 115. Again, there's no consensus. There's no such thing as consensus. Jake and I do a show together. We are often criticized for agreeing too much. We don't agree on Keontae Scott. I had him 52, he had him 98, but the NFL decided he was 116. So what is consensus if me and Jake can't even get on the same damn page, much less other teams? But the idea of value and understanding the market and getting players that are better than you should be getting consistently, that's what we're talking about. When you're not reaching, but you're consistently winning picks, that's what Tampa Bay did. You're right. They might have had the best draft out of it.
They were awesome. My 2 favorite picks, I'm going to go with the 2 defensive tackles. I love Halton in the 4th round. That's a fantastic pick. I think that's value. I think he could have gone in the 3rd round. I love his motor. I love his speed, and I think he's a great scheme fit for them. But I'll tell you, the guy that I think is the biggest steal is James Thompson from Illinois. Between the athleticism, the height, what he looked like in the All-Star games, what he looked like at Illinois, but then I went back and watched his Wisconsin film, and he looked the same at Wisconsin. So this guy's got a little bit of junkyard dog. I don't know why he kind of fell through the cracks, but I do think in a team when you're playing him in a rotation, he'll be like Thompson and Halton will be a real nice replacements for Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis. I think they really, if that's a little trade-off, I think it's a pretty good trade for the Niners. They got younger, cheaper, and maybe better.
I agree with that. And Thompson was somebody that I really am looking back on my notes. I really, really liked a lot of what he did during that Senior Bowl. So that matters a lot.
All right. Thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to everybody in the chat. And we have one last one from Joe. He says, appreciate you guys. Great episode on the subject of journalism and being contentious. Where do you see Lowell Cohn or Ray Ratto in that niche? Feels like they have a place. Oh, they're journalists. And they're journalists.
They're journalists. And you know what? It's ridiculous for me to even, present like what is journalism, what's not. It's not my job to figure out who's credentialed or not. I will say, again, and I don't believe this to be the intent, but if the goal is, and I'll tell you who actually does this. This is the TV people, where they're asking a question that they don't actually want or need the answer to. They just want the clip. They just want it to be clipped. That's gotcha. We're not actually doing anything of importance. That's just gotcha journalism, which isn't journalism. And that's the kind of stuff that's a real waste of everybody's time. And frankly, I would hope that there's enough self-respect from the audience to not encourage more of that behavior.
Guys, have a great night. Dieter, thanks for your time. Thanks to everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get